What is this dance move that you have going on?
Did anybody else also have to re-sign up for the event?
Yeah, I keep on having to do that quite a bit, actually. This last one, I was able to get in without it.
I wonder what changed.
I don't know. I think it's a snafu in the link. When they first had the problem, I had to re-sign up for all the classes. I don't know. Maybe they made it expire.
Non-recurring?
Right.
Yeah,
But
probably.
sometimes they work sometimes, so who knows?
Yeah, I'm glad I tried earlier because I was like, whoa, what's going on? What happened to my one click?
Well, I'm in the middle of my real estate classes, and they're like partially on demand and partially live. And I have been trying to play catch up because I need to get more live classes. And I was up till like 1 a.m. last night.
Oh my
And
God.
I got up and I looked at my class and I'm like, I can take a live one today. So I got up early. I was going to take like 45 minutes of one of the on-demand classes, and then I had nothing to do. So here I am. Uh-oh, where is my phone? I will be right back.
Does anybody know what we're working off of today in terms of paperwork?
It would be Spark 7 participant guide.
Have you seen it where you can print it off or anywhere? Have you?
No, I actually keep getting lost on all the units because each piece of paperwork is different. So after a while, I lost myself on the Facebook page. But yeah, I'm gonna look up. Maybe there's somewhere simpler to grab. Yeah, because when you look at the units, everything is, each piece of PDF is individual.
Are you talking about looking at the files to try to figure out what to download?
Yeah.
If you go on the Facebook page, they are named there.
Oh, I see. Unit 5. So today should be unit 6.
7, I think.
7. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, unit 8. Sorry. Spark 7, unit 8. I'm going to download it and upload it to the chat.
I just, can you hear me? I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I just, in the chat, I put in the link that I use, which is from KW Connect.
Oh, you
And
mean
it
to log in?
Just click, see, take that link I just put in the chat.
It's not showing on my chat.
Is it?
No.
Oh, maybe no, it
There you
should.
go.
There you go.
I see it.
Oh, wait. Hold on.
And that has the elements and the spark.
Okay. Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you open up a,
It sends it to KW Connect. So if you have KW Connect, you can log in. Okay. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I just put them up on the chat. You
Thank
could
you.
download it from the chat, the actual PDF. I think the
been
code
just-
will be, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, I've been saving these to a file folder on my desktop as PDFs. So I like have them for referral for future use. I don't know if anybody's done that, but
Morning, everyone.
good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing, Praveen?
So I would actually suggest that you rename that folder as Ignite.
Oh, no, it says KW Ignite is what it says.
Oh, okay, because otherwise if you say PDF, once you start downloading stuff in your career, you're going to be searching through your computer.
Oh, no, I'm saying the file type is PDF.
Right, okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, I think everybody's going to have to re-sign up for the classes, and that's why we only have 26 people.
I sign up every morning.
Every morning you have to put in your
Every
email
morning,
address.
and you can check off, and this morning was the only time that they didn't have to choose a class. They were just all there.
This
don't
is the
know.
first time I had to register to log into the meeting. Normally I can just click on the link and it logs me right in because I had already pre-registered. So not sure if other people are having that issue.
I had the
Yeah.
same issue. It had me kind of re-register and enter my email again.
I had that same issue.
Same for me. I re-registered every day. I think there's different means of signing into Zoom. So you can either re-register or put the link in.
The joys of technology, my friends, the joys of technology.
Yeah, it's always great until it isn't. Only if it works.
Yeah, well, and luckily it is working. It just, even for myself, I had to find my link and I found it, but it took me a little bit of time. So I'm glad that everybody is here and we're going to give it a couple minutes. We have a couple more minutes before we start. Is everybody ready to find buyers today?
Yes.
That's awesome. I love it. All right, so one more minute and we will get started. Heidi, you're here for the chat, right?
Yes, ma'am.
It's me and you today, which is plenty. So you check on the chat. I'll be teaching the class.
You got it.
I love it.
Thank you.
You are welcome. I'm excited to see you all.
Likewise.
It really helps when I see all your faces and your interaction. So that way that we can make the day go by like that.
I'm still eating my breakfast. That's why I didn't feel I didn't want to eat on screen.
I appreciate that. Well, finish your breakfast and then you can join us with your pretty face for the morning.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Can you believe you're on, let's see, is it 7? Spark 7? Right?
Yep,
Wow.
it's already in the chat.
Can you believe that's like a week of classes? What's been your biggest aha so far?
I'll go. This is Matt Waldron.
Hi, Matt.
How are you?
Good.
One of my biggest things, it was actually just one line. Tim Lindsay actually said it, and I used it. I went to an open house. I helped someone with an open house. I'm new to the real estate game, only about 6 weeks. So I went to an open house and helped someone out. But he said, we're a full service broker and we can do anything and everything for you. And I used that line a couple times on maybe 3 or 4 groups, and I actually get a reaction out of that said, what do you mean you're a full service broker? And I was able to explain, and their eyes kind of lit up, where we had the in-house mortgage lender, we have an in-house lawyer that could be used and utilized. So that was something that I took out in my 15 years of sales. I think that line was just an excellent gateway to conversation.
I love that aha. And just for those of you who maybe don't have an attorney at your office or a mortgage person in your office, just remember surrounding yourself with a team of professionals, right, is the most important takeaway on that. So we all have a huge team. If you are day one and you don't know a mortgage person, who is your team?
KW Elite.
That's right, KW, right? Your office, your market center, your region. So there's so many people. If you put out, has anybody tried to put like something out on the email to your whole office or something on the private Facebook page? Or just seen other people posting? What happens? Does somebody know a plumber?
You get lots of referrals.
That's right. Lots of names. Exactly. So remember, you have a team. You are a full service brokerage. You have a team of people helping you. So you are ready. All right. It is 9:02. We have 65 people. So I feel like that's a good number to get started with. Do you all agree? All right. Who's ready to hit this today? Do one of these. Woohoo. All right. I see the thumbs. All right. There we go. I need that energy. So for all of you that don't know who I am, my name is Lorna Helms. I'm the productivity coach at Keller Williams Boston Northwest in Concord and Lexington, Massachusetts. I have been in real estate for this summer will be 28 years. I was like 2 when I started, because I can't even believe it's been that long. So I'm so super excited. One of my favorite things to do is teach. I love training, and I have so much fun with it. And you know what my other favorite thing is? Working with buyers. So I love this topic because I love working with buyers. And you may not hear that from everybody, but you definitely will always hear it from me. Because why do I love buyers? Do you want me to tell you? Because you know what? You bond with buyers. Sellers you bond with, but it's a little bit different. Buyers, they are talking to you, but they're having conversations with you, and not in the car right now, but on Zooms. And when you're showing houses, they say things sometimes that is surprising. Sometimes you're putting on your marriage counselor hat or your, negotiator hat between the parties, right? So I just think it is always different and dynamic, and I just think it's so interesting. So we are going to get started on working about finding buyers. Sound like a plan? All right. And you guys did a great job when I taught last week about talking and interacting with me. So I'm going to ask you to do the exact same thing today. And that way we can make this, like I said, happen super quick. And Heidi, you'll check the chat box because I can't see it when I'm sharing my screen. Does everybody have the participation guide for this event for today?
Yes.
Yes.
I do.
In the chat.
It's in the chat. Awesome. That's what I wanted to hear. All right. So does anybody recognize
it? Can someone send it along, please? I don't see it in the chat.
Oh, Heidi, can you add it back in the chat?
I will do that.
Great, thank you.
Awesome. So you might recognize this screen, right? We talk about every day, growing your business and running your business. And that's 2 different things, right? If you don't do the left side, you don't have a business to run on the right side. Does that sound fair? Right? And what do you see is number 1 on that left side of growing your business?
Lead generate.
Lead generate. Because if you don't do number one, do you really need number two for seller presentations or number three for buyer presentations?
Nope.
Let me ask you this. Why is number 4 so important on growing your business? Previewing real estate.
Well, number 4 allows you to kind of get familiar with the market, I think, around your area. If you're looking at the MLS every day and kind of getting an idea for what's selling and what might be sitting there, helps give you more of an idea of what to tell buyers and what offers to put in on properties.
Exactly. So understanding the market just helps you to become more confident and a better professional to assist buyers and sellers, right? It also is conversation. Have you gone to preview property, anybody?
Not recently.
Not recently. I see PF saying, yes, he has. Like, I'm trying to go through all the pictures. So tell me, when you previewed property, how did you share that with people? I'm picking on you, especially PF, because you raised your hand and I could see you. You want to unmute?
Oh, boy. So when I preview properties, I'm actually one of those people that looks for the gotchas and the pitfalls so that I can prepare my clients. So I can say, give them an objective opinion of like, all right, the bone structure of the house are great. However, do you notice the water stains on the wall around the foundation? And then I let them think about that and start looking for themselves, because I am trying to be the source of the source rather than come up across as the expert.
Right, because we're not home inspectors. I love that you said that, right? You're just kind of pointing out like things that you notice, but a home inspector will notice everything. So I think that's great. And one of the things that it was in my mind when I asked this question was, you know, when you preview real estate, that's an opportunity to share with people what you're up to, right? Whether it's on social media, right? And obviously, if it's not your listing, you can't post it on social media without permission. But say that you saw a really cool, like I had a listing that has light blue aluminum kitchen. Yeah, it's old, right? And so that's like a conversation starter. Like, could I take a picture of this kitchen, post it? You don't have to, you know, as long as you ask permission, right? Cool thing. Some people take like the glass doorknobs on really old houses, right? So there's always something really cool. Or maybe it's just a picture of you in your car saying, I went and saw 5 houses today in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. It's crazy that that was every listing in the town. What does that just tell the world?
You know Portsmouth really well.
Time to list your house too.
Say that again.
Time to list your house.
Yes, exactly. So it's just, again, starts that conversation. It reminds them you're in real estate and that you are out looking at properties to be the expert every day. So that part is super important. But today we're going to talk about lead generate for buyers, right? Because that's what we're here for. It says lead generate for buyers and sellers, but we really want to make sure that we're starting that. So today we're going to talk about finding the buyer, how to cultivate that lead, qualifying the buyer, and then getting the buyer agreement signed, right? That's a big one. We're going to talk about that today. Does anybody have any questions or comments before we get started? All right, we are moving on. So finding the buyers. I love this slide, right? Because we need to make sure that we want to figure out how to find them. So this was from National Association of Realtors. And in 2019, 89% of the buyers purchased their home through a real estate agent. So guess what? They still need us. It doesn't matter about the internet or anything else. They need us. 89%. 41% of buyers found their agent through a referral from friends or family. Why is that number so important when we talk about lead generation?
Because it's
all about
almost
asking, who do you know?
Michelle, so they're using people, say that one more time.
When you do that, you're always asking people, who else do they know? Like, it might be that you make a relationship with one person, but you may not help them directly. But when you ask them, like, who else, who do you know that I can help? That's how you're getting all your referrals.
Exactly. So that means 40, that's a big number, 41%, right? So I know a lot of people think, oh, I have to have my website perfect. And it should be accurate. Let's just be clear. But is that where people are finding you? Are they Googling Lorna Helms? I think I want a real estate agent. I'll Google Lorna Helms. No.
Sphere of influence.
That's right. Your sphere of influence. They're asking their sphere of influence as they start getting ready to go. So they're saying, hey, mom, dad, aunt, uncle, best friend, cousin, who do you know that sells real estate?
Yep.
So what does that say to us about those daily calls?
They need to happen.
That's right. They need to happen. And they need to happen to your sphere of influence. The powerful phone, right? Your database that's here needs to be in command. And not only do those calls need to happen, they need to happen purposefully and consistently. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Right? So that number, that 41% always blows me away. What about 75% of the buyers interviewed only one real estate agent during their home search? Whoa. One. Now, I know from many of the classes that I've taught and many of my experiences, especially with listings, people interview more than one person. But this is telling us that buyers interview one real estate agent during their home search. 75%. So what does that say to you?
You got to make sure you're out there.
You got to make sure you're out there. You got to bring it. You got to bring your best to every single interaction that you have. And those buyer consultations, you got to nail it. That's what it tells me. Anybody else have any thoughts on that statistic? Because I feel like that's a big one.
I just wanted to add that that being such a high statistic, it kind of reiterates the fact that we really need to stay top of mind to all the people in our database, for sure.
That's right, because if 40% of the people are getting a referral from a friend or family and you're top of mind and they're going to interview one agent.
Yeah.
So that's right. So that brings us all back to that lead generation. Okay, we're done. We can just go lead generate now, right?
Can I build on that, Lorna?
Of course.
So it's funny that we're on this topic today because I make it, my business comes from my sphere. I'm fortunate to have a very large sphere because of my previous career. I got a phone call last night from somebody whom, you know, he's in my sphere, but I don't talk to him on a regular basis. He sees me, you know, we conversate when we see each other, but he actually called me out of the blue last night asking questions about the value of his house. And I was just like, oh, all that work I've been putting in is finally going to pay off. So it reinforced my need to continue doing what I was doing to stay in front of that particular part of my sphere.
Kendra, thank you so much for sharing that because that is huge. One of the things, and I said it the last time I taught last week, was I might be focusing in on everybody in my phone. And then all of a sudden I get this like phone call from somewhere else. Right. And I was like, well, how does that tie back to all of that? But the fact is, if you focus on lead generating, it expands to your whole world. It's a bold law too. So when you guys take bold, you'll remember that I said this. Focus on what you focus on expands.
So Lorna, we have Jessica who has raised her hand.
Hi.
Hi.
I just wanted to add, I was actually having a conversation with somebody from this class last night, and I was telling her, I said, it's the funniest thing. I said, I have a background in sales and I do pretty well with that, when I've done sales in the past. But another facet of this, besides lead generating by being proactive, is also finding ways to make everyday body language and your approachability better. I am super, super open. So people, I don't know how I do that. I can't help anybody with that. But like people come up to me in the supermarket and just tell me their life stories. Like I told her, I was laughing. I said, I'll be in the grocery store after I get my license and somebody's going to come up to me and be like, I really need to buy a house. And I won't have a name tag on. They're just going to tell me. So like, I find ways of like, if you can find a way to make yourself approachable, smile at people, talk to people in the room that you don't know, they literally just come to you. So
I love that, right? Just by being a nice person, right? Giving off good energy, right? Every single day. If you are having a bad day, guess what you should do?
Make somebody else's day better.
I love that. That's not even what I was going to say. And I love that even better than what I was going to say. That's right. Make somebody else's day better. That's awesome. I was going to say, if you're feeling off, not feeling like your energy or your good mojo is out there, don't go to the grocery store. Don't go see people. Stay home and do something different. But sometimes that energy comes through. So I love that Jessica was talking about her great energy comes through no matter what she does.
Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to say too. I was also saying, making it a point to make contacts with people that you have nothing to do with. So like when I go to a restaurant, if I'm having a good experience, I make it a point to like ask the manager to come over and pay that person a compliment. It's something nice that you can do for someone else. And it ingratiates, I guess, but it like makes you more open. Right. And I make a lot of friends, like every day I make a new friend. It's really ridiculous. But it's good. And it translates in the end as business.
I love that. And that's it. Just being open and connecting with people. Right. That's awesome. That is one of the things that I continually need to work on, Jessica. So I appreciate you sharing that. My fiance would get along great with you. He talks to everybody everywhere we go. I'm always like,
Yeah.
whoa, and he's made a best friend. So
you got to be the mayor of the town.
Exactly.
Know everybody.
Exactly. So thinking about that next step, which is the open houses, 51% of buyers visit an open house as a way to search for homes. Who's doing open houses? I know right now it's a little weird. Yeah,
I am.
I heard I am. All right.
Kendra is.
I am.
Awesome. And what have you found when you're at these open houses?
That I pick up buyers left and right, especially when their agents are too lazy because they're a Zillow lead to do anything with them. So I write both sides of the transaction like I literally did yesterday.
Wow. So they are getting to the open houses and you're getting business. That is amazing. And do they always buy the house they walk into?
Nope.
No. But going back to Jessica's thought process, she's connecting. She's being open when they're there, right? And then so they might not buy now, but they might be ready in 6 months. It might be the very first open house that they go to.
Exactly.
You know, and how many times do you hear that in an open house? Oh, we just started.
90% of the time.
Exactly.
I built my business on open houses. When I started at Coldwell Banker, and a good friend of mine was my mentor. And I used to do 2 to 4 open houses on her listings every weekend like clockwork. And besides my sphere, that's how I got my buyers.
Kendra, how many open houses did you do every weekend?
2 to 4. Like if I did only one on Saturday and one on Sunday, I was disappointed. I like doing 2 each day.
Are you people writing this down? Right? 2 to 4. I love that goal. And that's the goal for all of you.
And they were, none of them were my listings.
Yeah. So they weren't even your listings. You were just helping other people out.
Exactly.
And guess what? I know that right now inventory is low, everyone, but guess what's going to happen as the months continue along? It's going up and up and up. We're going to get more inventory. So you need to be ready. So Kendra, you happen to have a friend, you said, but if somebody was to, being a new to Keller Williams office, what's the best way do you think that they could find open houses?
So I would first reach out to the ALC members. I'm also on the ALC. If they have, depending on the market center, some of them have productivity coaches, some of them have a mentoring program. And the mentor or the productivity coach will say, reach out to the top producing agents in your office, especially the listing agents, because they're so busy doing listings. If they don't have a team that's already handling the open houses, they need help. So even though I'm a top producer and I cap, I still reach out to other agents in my office if I'm hitting a low spot and ask them if they have any open houses I should cover.
I love that. And so one of the secrets that I say to all of the agents in my coaching program and when they're brand new is making sure that you are on top of all the new listings at the office, right? So you should be getting an update every day from MLS or checking, like you can do a search with just listings that come from your office. Make sure that you're doing that so you know every new listing that's coming on and are able to proactively reach out. If your office has a coming soon page in your office or a place that you know about listings coming, make sure you're reaching out. But what about calling those ALC members and asking some questions or just saying, I wanted to introduce myself in case you know anybody? One of the agents, Jen Giroux, who spoke with me last week, some of you might remember her. She's been in the business 3 years. The very first phone call she made was to our OP, who's been in business for over 45 years, and just asked her a question. And the OP called me and said, that was amazing. And she's going far because she was connecting with somebody who had that much experience. So I want you to take a second. This is not in the curriculum, but I want you to take a second anyway. 2 names of people in your office that you should reach out to and just ask them like a couple questions. Get to know them.
So Lorna,
Yes.
I did an open house this past Saturday.
Mhm.
I showed them 3 properties, and the open house we saw, they liked it so much that I went home. I did the CMA on this properties, and I noticed that this property is underpriced. So we immediately put an offer for this property.
Yeah.
Yesterday, 3 p.m. was the deadline, and the listing agent reached out to me stating that the landlord needs to sleep on it.
The landlord or the seller? Is this an apartment or a sale?
I'm a buyer's agent, so it's a seller.
Okay.
The seller wants to sleep on it. So my question to you is, the contract is ended at 3 p.m. My clients are okay to wait.
3 p.m. today?
Yesterday. And they're thinking about it right now.
So you should hear this morning.
Any given time.
Maybe. So, one of the things that, obviously, again, you want to give the seller some time, but also making sure, like, are you expecting other offers? So ask some questions.
Unfortunately, the listing agent was not comfortable talking on the phone last night. I wanted to wrap it up immediately. He was, for some reason, not comfortable. So I had no choice than waiting.
Sometimes we don't, right? I mean, right now, it's a seller's market, isn't it?
Exactly.
Who's in the driver's seat a little bit?
Right.
A lot.
Yes. So
I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for you.
Thank you. Thank
That's
you.
exciting.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I love hearing these stories. So open houses. So we need to make sure that we're connecting back to that with people in our office and making sure that we are building relationships within the office to get these opportunities.
May I ask a question?
Of course.
Oh, thank you. So I did an open house last weekend, and it was a big building. This is Vivian from Boston Metro, and so it was in a neighborhood where it's all buildings, and I decided to do some prospecting in the building. What I've learned from the last Ignite, which was doing the the open house signs and, giving out my cards and just, knocking on doors. So I decided to knock on doors and prospect in the building. But it happened to be that a broker lived in one of the units in the building. And he seemed really angry that I was prospecting in the building. And I just want to ask your opinion. I mean, was it appropriate for me to prospect within a building where there's like 50 units and I'm doing an open house in one of the units?
Absolutely, right? So nobody owns the business, whether he lives in the building or not. I'm sure he felt like you were in his territory and he wanted to own it, right? Yet
Right.
you could just say, as I'm sure you do,
right?
I'm letting everybody know about the open house. So in case they hear people walking around or see faces they don't recognize, they know what's happening.
Right.
Right. So, nope, you did it just the right way. That's exactly how you're supposed to do it. And just have to let it go because, sometimes people are going to feel little twinge of jealousy, like, oh, somebody else is doing an open house and has a listing in my world.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I can be honest with you. There's a new listing that came up in my neighborhood this weekend, and I thought, wait a second, why is that I should have that listing. So put the mirror up a little bit. So I'm sure that's how he was feeling.
Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for sharing. So hopefully you guys have your participant guide. And on page 3, you were writing down some of the answers that we talked about with these statistics. Does anybody have any other thoughts or questions on this part of it in terms of finding buyers? I'm going to stop sharing for a second because sometimes this is better than even the screen. So tell me some other ways. We talked about open houses. I love that Vivian brought up, prospecting around open houses as well as doing the open house. How else do we find buyers?
Social media.
Social media.
I go to dog park.
The dog park. That brings up that basically everywhere.
Exactly. I don't even need to talk. My puppy talks.
Yeah, that's awesome. Dog parks are good. I know that when you have, oh, there we go, call expired listings and FSBOs. Jennifer, tell me how you find buyers from that. I saw it in chat. I don't normally see the chat, but I saw that pop up.
So you would just call and let them know, run some of the statistics of how you're going to help sell their house more, more better than they would.
So statistics show that you actually make more money when you use a realtor in less time.
You can, you're going to reach a much larger area using your own marketing than they might.
So thinking about by getting the listing, you're going to find more buyers.
Yes. Yeah.
I love that.
As an agent, we have a much larger sphere. And we will be able to put it out there in the world a lot further than they might.
Yeah, they think that sometimes by putting it just on like Zillow or something like that. And we're going to talk about sellers a lot tomorrow, so I don't want to go too much down this path, but we do have a larger net than just the average seller. So I agree. And back to finding the buyers through that. So buyers are everywhere in our world, right? Every time we're talking to people. But again, going back to the phone, the sphere of influence, your database, all of those places are where you're going to find buyers. What about rentals? How could that turn into buyers?
I was actually looking to do, this is Michelle from Keller Williams Gateway. I was looking to actually do that. I live in an apartment complex right now, and I pulled my lease though, and I saw it said no soliciting. So there went that idea. So I have to target somebody else's apartment complex to
that you don't live in.
Yeah, but I figured someone's feeling squished where they are right now in the pandemic, and people are wanting to have more space. So I thought that would be a good avenue.
So Michelle, if you're not allowed to technically solicit, but are you friends with people in the building?
I am. That's why I wanted to go that route, because people know me around here. And I was like, oh, that'll be a good avenue. And I was like, oh, no soliciting right here on page so-and-so.
So if they're your friends though, are you soliciting or are you just having a conversation?
True. You're just having a conversation with the friends. So I'll reach out to those people directly.
That's right. So if you are friends with them, I would challenge you that that would be different than soliciting business, right? You're having a conversation. And, you know, a lot of times too, your friends are the people that, if you want to practice that buyer presentation or be able to explain the difference, and they're friends with you also on social media. So maybe you're inviting them to your page. So then they're seeing all of that.
One thing I was hoping to do, and this is why I didn't do that plan, was I was hoping maybe like to do like a postcard mailing or do like a flyer, and that would reach, you know, a lot of people at once. But I can't do that here, but I might try other avenues or other condo complexes, you know, to see if people will need bigger space.
And what's one of the things that you want to focus on? I know a few people at our office is when they're getting like tenants to work with. Why is it better to own than to rent?
Because at this point, especially right now, like the rates are so low that when you're paying for the mortgage, you're paying just as much, if not more, for rent. Although as a homeowner, you do have other expenses outside the mortgage thing to factor in. However, when you're renting, you're making somebody else richer, and you're going by their rules, and you don't own anything. You're essentially just kind of walking away like a leased car.
Yeah, you're basically paying somebody's mortgage. Why not have it be your own?
Right.
And right now with interest rates, it's almost free money.
Mm-hmm.
Almost free money. I see that Jessica has her hand up.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just gonna build on that. It's funny you touched on some of the points that I was gonna say, Michelle, which is good. It's good. I was just gonna say I feel like I was doing this to people, 2 people, 4 people, whatever, before I ever was even thinking of doing this business, because I always would tell people, like, why are you building someone else's equity? I mean, when I you don't need my life story, but like I got a condo before I got married with my ex-husband, because I was like, we can pay less and get more. And if we break up, we'll just split it. Like, who cares? So I talk to people all the time about that, because the really building wealth, especially for young people, is really hard. And I think real estate is one of the main ways people do that. And they have more financial stability, and taking advantage of the market right now it's a no-brainer.
That's right.
That's I mean, to me, that I feel I want to underscore what you just said, because I do feel that that is one of the biggest contributions realtors can do to support people in terms of economic growth over time, and really understanding that it can really change people in terms of financial well-being in the long run. And there's really no other, there aren't many ways when people are making like regular salaries to build wealth anymore. So I think, and I personally, we ended up we thought we were investing in a vacation property just to cover our mortgage. And it's turned out in a period of 4 years, it appreciated by $100,000. And it was a unit that we bought at 190. It's now 350 on the market, but it was what we didn't know when we did it, but it was part of what served as an incentive on what's possible in terms of what realtors can contribute to people.
That's right. Helping people build wealth. Thank you so much for both of you for pointing that out and thinking about that. So, you know, that is back to the, you know, when you meet people who are asking you, can you help me find an apartment? Or I could never qualify for a mortgage, right? Have you ever heard anyone say that before? Yeah. And if you actually sit and talk to somebody, especially right now, I'm amazed to see that some of the programs that are out there that are allowing people to buy. So tenants, people that you know, open houses, social media, these are all avenues to find buyers and help people build wealth. And isn't that what we're here to do? Help buyers.
I'm sorry, I keep on talking.
Okay, Jessica, it's okay.
I have so much on my mind. A lot of people I know is that I had my kids in like an inner city Montessori school, some low income people, whatever. They all thought like their credit's horrible. And I think that one of the tools that we can use as real estate agents, which is actually really cool. It's kind of that whole idea of like, you know, don't be the source, but be the source of the source. I tell people to use credit karma. They actually find out what their score is. It doesn't impact their score to find out what it is, and they can find out how to improve it. So they do that work on their own, and it empowers them. And I think a lot of people are surprised when they go on, because they think maybe like they had a cable bill or something they didn't pay, and then it turns out it's not even on there.
Yeah.
And they actually have pretty decent credit, but they have a young credit because they don't use it. And that is building clients. That's like a few steps down the road. It's like a chess game. Start with getting them financially solvent so that they can invest.
That's right. And it is, and I love that you're coming so much from the heart, and it's really all about helping people. That's what we're here to do, is to help people. And if we can start, and it might be 2 years from now, but are you in real estate for 6 months, or are you in it for the long game?
Oh, who, me?
All of you. Are you in it today or for the future?
I was in it before I was in it.
Exactly. So it doesn't matter if they're going to not buy today. If you're helping them figure out how to get there now, guess what else they're doing? Besides fixing their credit, they're saying, Jessica gave me this great idea, my realtor, right? You need to start just building that up. So helping people from the ground up, looking at the long game.
I have a question if we have a moment.
Of course.
So my name's Paige. I'm with Keller Williams Chestnut Hill. I'm kind of young. I'm 25, and a lot of my friends are also the same age. And, you know, we live in Boston, so buying things is tough. But I know, like, my complaint personally, and a lot of my friends, is just I don't have like down payment money. But I know that there are, you know, financing options where you don't have to pay, like, you know, put 20% down. But are there like resources or things that we can show people to say, like, well, it is possible to not have to put down like 50 grand on a house? And like, are there, I know obviously you can refer people to mortgage brokers, but are there certain like resources that we can pull from to show people that homeownership is more possible than they think?
So would say is I always go back to my vendor partners, which is my mortgage friends, right? So a lot of them, thank you. I was thinking mass housing when somebody just posted an FHA, but also thinking about, you know, talking to, like, have a cup of coffee with your mortgage person. Like, I'd really love to know, you know, a little bit more about those programs. And do you have any co-branding that we can do together, that you could post on social media, that you could mail out, that I could share with people? Because it is a huge, you know, misconception that you need 20% down. So if you're able to be that, again, that source to say, here, call, you know, PM me. Actually, I'm thinking my niece is posting for me today. Tip Tuesday was, you don't need 20% down. You know, private message me for more information or for a mortgage specialist name.
Awesome. Thank you.
Can I say something to Paige? This is Vivian again from Metro Boston. I can say that I always believed that I needed to have my 20% to put down on a down payment, and I was able to get 20% to put down on a down payment on a home. And I still basically do not qualify, since I just switched careers and I'm now over in real estate. So there's a lot more to it than just having the 20%. And I've known many people to buy homes that don't have the 20%. So I saved for years. And you know, I always thought, you know, I have to have at least $100,000 to put down on a home before I purchased one. And then, you know, I went over to Bank of America, and they're like, oh no, you know, now that you switch careers, you have to, you know, you have to have consistency in paychecks for 2 years with the switch. So it's not just, you know, having money is not a way to purchase a home, apparently.
That's so right. Down payment, credit, job stability. So one of the things through COVID that we found happened was people whose jobs weren't as stable, right? Or even though they had been there for a long time, but all of a sudden were laid off, different things like that. So a lot of us, we would joke, but it was true. Some of the best clients that we had this in the 2020 were healthcare workers, right? Teachers, firemen, policemen. They're all steady jobs that, so anything that was not at risk of somebody losing their job or being laid off, they were solid bet in 2020. So, but thank you, Vivian, for pointing that out. And Paige, just so you know, I was 24 when I started in real estate so long ago. So at the beginning, a lot of your friends, all my friends, I did tons of rentals with my friends. And my open houses were how I found a lot of the buyers. So now all those people, originally one of my core advocates, almost 28 years later, is somebody that I helped find a rental for 28 years ago. And when I say core advocate, does anybody know what that means?
Like someone who really gets your name out there.
That's right. So he is that person. So when you look at your business, you want to track where it comes from, right? That's why tags are so important in command, right? So when I look at the business, this one person, I showed him a rental. I showed lots of my friends rentals. That person trusted me to sell him a house. In fact, I'll remember, do you mind if I get down to his story for a minute? Gosh, 28 years ago, I was showing him a house and he was walking around. He was a carpenter by trade at the time. And he was saying to me, I was looking with his ex-wife, and he said, the sills in this house are all rotted. And, I'm going to have to jack the house up and I'm going to have to fix it. And I went home to my ex-husband he was my husband at the time. And I said, what's a sill of a house? I had no idea what a sill is. Now, first of all, if you're saying, I don't know either, definitely look up how to build a house. But that's what holds the house up. The sill is super important. I had no idea what that even was. So my ex-husband drew me a picture and explained it to me. But that person who I didn't even know what a sill was, eventually he did buy a house. But then he's now someone he has a $1 million company that buys and flips houses all the time. Not only does he work with me, he has referred me to subdivisions, as well as I've worked with everybody in his family, plus other friends. So he's that person. So when I had tickets for the Bruins playoff game, guess who came with me? That core advocate. I take good care of him. But so thinking about it starts now. So who are the influencers that you know right now who trust, know, and like you that are going to be instrumental in helping you build your business?
Hey, Lorna.
Yes.
I had noticed a while back, Donna Boudreau had her hand raised. I don't know if there was anything she wanted to say.
All right, Donna, do you have anything?
This goes back to when you were talking about the mortgage broker.
Mm-hmm.
The one that I had when I bought my house almost 8 years ago has yet to lose touch with me. I think they do some kind of smart test plan kind of thing. However, when she found out I got my real estate license, like she jumped on me right away because it's only going to benefit her. And I think finding someone that you can partner with regarding, a mortgage professional is huge because they want to talk to you as much as you want to talk to them.
Right.
That's right. Exactly. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Thank you for mentioning that.
We have some comments coming in. Jessica's asking, she's saying she's a little leery of lease to own agreements. And are they a good option to suggest to young buyers with limited resources? I honestly don't know too many attorneys that even do them anymore because they're so problematic.
Yeah, I've heard that.
It's very rare. And a lot of times most homeowners, can't do that, right? They can't, they need the equity out of the reason they're selling is because they need the equity for something else. So it's a very rare option, that you've got somebody who can afford to do that. So it really does depend, but it gets messy. And so I would say, you do need to think outside the box sometimes, but at the end of the day, it's not typical, at least not in my area.
Yeah, same
and
thing.
I saw somebody had their hand raised, but now their hand is gone.
No,
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, I want to add to the before about the employment.
So basically what they say that if you have a salary job, you don't need a 2 years like employment experience. So basically what they say is that if you have a salary job, you you just get a job, you just need to get the employment letter from your employer saying that you pay this much amount of money, then you're okay for the qualify for the loan. But if you are self-employed, that means you pay on a commission, then you have to they require 2 years like employment. But if you have a salary, you don't need to. You can just start it right off. Even though you study like a few months, you qualify.
So I agree, yet I would also say that we always want to push it to the mortgage person, because say that I am a coach, right? And I have a salary. And now all of a sudden I'm going to go do a totally different job. I'm going to go be a medical technician, right? We don't even know if that would work out. I don't think it would for me, but so if you totally switch careers, that does have an effect on it. If you're going from job A to job B, but it's in a similar field, then typically you're okay. But always refer to the mortgage person. So that way, again, we're not saying that we're the experts in that, because there's a lot of intricacies and a lot of, right now, I feel like a lot of exceptions. They're allowing more things than they have in the last 10 years. So I would say your mortgage person is always going to be your best friend. So you really want to have 3 people that you can call or your buyers can call. So make sure that you do that. And I know I have loved my Keller Mortgage representative. He's been great. So get to know who your representative is for your state.
Lorna, hi.
Yes.
It's Joyce. I have a quick question. I have a buyer, but they got laid off from their job. And he still wants me to send him, information, nurture him, I guess that's what you call it.
Yeah.
He wants to go and look at homes. Is that a waste of time since him or his wife doesn't have a job now?
So I would say to him is that and this has been very true in my marketplace, always you want to have a pre-approval before you go look at houses. Going
Right.
to open houses is a great way to get educated.
Mhm.
But until someone's pre-approved, putting them in your car and taking them out to look at houses every weekend could prove to not be the best use of your time.
Okay.
Okay, so, but
That he,
approaching it in a way that makes sure that it's beneficial to them,
Mhm.
right? Meaning that they, that it's going to be, could be like emotionally upsetting to go look at these houses and find something you want and then not be able to buy it. And ask them how they would feel about that.
So if they did get if they do have the pre-approval, is it still usable even if they lost their jobs? What happens to the pre-approval if they got laid off?
So it will, depending if they're just laid off and they're coming back, or are they laid off and they're never coming back, right? So it's always good to be honest with the mortgage person. So they should ask their mortgage person, I got laid off, I'm supposed to be back in 2 months, or I'm looking for another job. What will that do? Again, always go back to the expert, because it really depends, again, on what the field is, what the opportunities that they might find another job. And most likely it's going to be, it depends on, the layoff. So I would say they should have a discussion with their mortgage person prior. You can keep them on the nurture, have them get the daily updates, have them explore open houses. But I would say that, again, making sure, telling them for their own good, they want to double check their eligibility for the mortgage with their mortgage person.
Hi, Lorna, this is Rhonda. I was under the impression that if we submit an offer for something, we submit the pre-approval letter at the same time.
You absolutely do.
Because of this, it's about educating our clients to know that is what it means to put an offer. So we can't put an offer in without a pre-approval letter that's legitimate. So it's really, it's just kind of, may not even realize that that actually is the process.
Well, and I would just go back to Joyce, they should check with their mortgage person. Is it still legitimate or is it not? Right? So Donna, you raised your hand. Donna Boudreau, you're okay? All right.
Thank
All right.
you.
Go ahead.
Just underused resource, credit unions. Credit unions offer really competitive rates for their members. Just throwing that out there.
And again, I just think that, yeah, always have to, I will tell you that specialists are specialists, making sure they have a mortgage specialist who can get the job done at your bank, at your credit union, wherever it is. Just like doctors have specialties, so do bankers, right? And credit unions. And some credit unions are fantastic and others are not. So knowing your bank, your mortgage, or your credit union, and knowing the service they provide is the most important thing you can do for your client. All right, everybody, this was a great discussion. We're going to move forward unless there's any more questions.
It's not a question, it's just a conversation. I would categorize your buyers as A, B, and C buyers. That's all.
Awesome. And I agree with that. We're going to get to that for sure. But making sure, and so wait a minute, that was Joseph, right?
Yep, that was Joseph.
Yes.
Joseph, tell me more about that. What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, to me, an A buyer is somebody who's ready to go, ready to do something right now. They have a sense of urgency, you know, and, you know, go to a C buyer. They're in the pipeline. They're not going to do anything right now, but, you know, you work on them. So I'm prioritizing them. Who's ready to do something right now?
So it's basically filling that pipeline and knowing where everyone is in that pipeline.
Yes.
Awesome. That's a great point. Thank you for bringing it up. All right, everybody. So we are moving on. Cultivating buyer leads, right? So basically that was a nice segue, Joseph, into this. So cultivating, right? So this is one of my favorite funnels in the whole entire world. And the reason is because you see at the top, prospecting and marketing, right? It's the big part of the funnel. Right. And once we capture them through prospecting or marketing, they become leads. Right. And so we're going to track them and nurture them and contacts. What's the difference between a lead and a contact?
A lead is someone you haven't contacted yet, and a contact is someone you have spoken with, have met with, do know.
Two-way conversation, right? The back and forth about real estate. Contact. The lead is like you're advertising and everyone sees it. They're capturing a lead. Any questions? All right. So when we cultivate leads, why is it important to cultivate? And what does cultivate mean?
Start to take care of, call those people, let them know what you know, even if you don't know it right now, fake it till you make it. The source.
Be the source, right? So keep in touch.
Yeah.
Stay top of mind, right? Give them, add value. So maybe it's that, you know, you have somebody who just lost their job, so they might not be able to buy right now. Yet if you're giving them all of they're getting the multiple listing daily updates from you that says, oh, here's a new one. They're getting their education from you. They have your app. So when they're driving around, they can see like, oh, this house is worth this much money. That's part of cultivation, that keeping in touch, right? Until they're ready to go. So how do we do that? I know that you guys have heard about this in Command. How do we keep in touch and cultivate our buyers?
Call your sphere.
Auto plans.
Smart
Smart plans.
Smart plans.
Smart plans.
Woo, smart plans. That's right. So what I want to do is show you a little bit in Command about smart plans. I know you guys have talked about these in the past. So let me see, we're going to share my screen. We're going to escape out of here. And we're going to look at Command for a second. Who has, and since I can't see you all, you can unmute or put in the chat. Who has themselves on a smart plan?
Not yet.
I do.
Yes.
Who is that just said I do? I thought that sounded like Helen. Who else? All right.
Yes.
It was Helen. So we're going to talk about it today. Why is it important to add yourself on a smart plan?
It's good to see what your clients are getting.
That is right. You always want to do what you're going to add yourself to a smart plan so you can see what they're going to see. So you already added a contact in, right? Did you add contacts to your database yet? First,
Yes.
you guys. And did you add yourself as
Yes.
a contact? Of course. Awesome. So down over here, there's smart plans. You can look at the library of smart plans. Did you know that we have a library of smart plans? So
Yes.
yes, I love that. So I would recommend that you put yourself, at least start on a bi-weekly neighborhood nurture. So when you're in the library, you're going to add yourself, add smart plan to your library. I already have it, so it's not letting me do it. But so everybody's going to do that. Do you see where that you can add smart plan? Because then guess what it shows up in? My smart plans over here. Is everybody watching on the screen? Okay. So once you're here, now you've got all of these different ones. I would also add yourself to the birthday smart plan. Just so you see what it looks like. So bi-weekly neighborhood nurture. You want that. What do you think that means? First of all, if you don't know what it means, you can click on the steps of each one and find out what it means. But bi-weekly means twice a month, I'm getting an update on what's happening in the market. How does it know what neighborhoods to do?
You add the homeowner's address.
Thank you, Heidi. You add the homeowner's address. So that way, if you have a buyer, then you would pick, they might be different neighborhoods, right? So let's look at a contact for a second. And how do you add them to a smart plan? You can do it a couple different ways, but I'm going to go to the basic way. If I am carefully and slowly typing in so it can find it, and I find, this is him right there. Nope, that's not the person I want. I gotta move you guys out of the way. I can't see everybody on here. There we go. So we're looking at Jamie. And we see that he's on 2 smart plans because he gets added a lot. But I want to add him to a smart plan. He's my fiance, just so you know. He gets lots of emails from me. So you add him, and I can go in here and see, oh, I can choose the bi-weekly, and I can select that. And he is going to get started. Again, I got to move this out of the way a little. Hit confirm. And now he will be on there. Now notice right here in red, it says if you have a Twilio account set up, you'll automatically send from your Twilio number. So you do need to sign up with Twilio and get a phone number to text, just so you know. Not for this smart plan, but for other ones. And I hit confirm. So now he will start getting updates on the neighborhood nurture. But he's not ready to buy right now, but guess what? In less than 10 years, we're going to North Carolina. That's a real true story. So I might want to add a neighborhood. So I could put in, I'm waiting patiently with my internet. I could put in a town. Is everybody with me? You're all being so quiet. Yes. So if I'm hitting add neighborhood, I could say Atlantic Beach, NC. Find on a map. Yeah, it's down in here. My computer's thinking a lot today. Is everybody doing this while we're talking? Because I feel like everyone's being super quiet, which always leads me to believe that you're all doing this. Heidi, talk to me. Everyone's being very quiet.
They are.
I am just struggling with getting the little arrow that I need. There we go. Can everybody see that all his neighborhoods that he has? See all these different neighborhoods?
Yes.
So if I want to look at, again, slide down, there we go. So if I can look at the different, I'm not even touching anything and it's just not working for me today. Sorry, everybody. The different neighborhoods that he is looking at. So notice that this one's down in North Carolina. So if we want to look at what he's going to be seeing in his neighborhood nurture at that neighborhood, this is what will appear. And this is why you need to always see it. And when it's not working, you need to call and say, put in a ticket so that way they know. But here it comes. So this is his neighborhood snapshot. This is what he's getting emailed, is all of the properties that are there. So he can see everything that's in the blue right here in this neighborhood. Did you know your buyers can then click on it and they can look at all the pictures? Ooh, doesn't that look pretty? Don't you want to move to North Carolina with me? But the best thing is as you go down, you see the price. You can schedule a tour. I can't hear because I'm on the back end. You can look at commute times, home facts, talks about nearby schools, if schools are important, talks about the mortgage payment, what the mortgage payment is. It talks about clicking on Keller Mortgage, right? So the reason I know all of this is because I've played with it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So the reason that you want to put yourself on it is so you know what what the consumer is going to see. So guess what your homework is tonight?
Get on a smart plan.
Put yourself on a smart plan. Right? You want to check it out, see what it does. And it's very fun. And sometimes I'll get it and I'll just click around, you know, just to see what on the other end it looks like. And make an appointment with yourself. Click on make an appointment, schedule a tour. Play with all the clickable buttons. Because if your client says to you, Lorna, I clicked on schedule a tour and I never heard from you. I want to know, how am I getting notified? Right? So if Matthew wants to see a house and he schedules with me, what happens next? I get notified through my Kelly app, just so you know, or in command in the little notification bell. Right in here, see the little bell right there? That's your notifications. Does anybody have any questions about how to set up a smart plan?
Ryan just wants to confirm that this is the biweekly neighborhood nurture smart plan.
Correct.
Okay. Jeffrey says his wife wants to move to Florida and he wants to move to Vermont or Alaska. So North Carolina might be a compromise.
There, yeah, or 2 places, right? 6 months one place, 6 months the other.
There you go, snowbirds.
There you go. I love it. So we're going to get back here. But again, that smart plan, right? Make sure you get yourselves on it. So before we leave that, I want to ask you, what are your ahas about smart plans? Don't all talk at once.
Putting yourself on so you can see what you're sending to other people.
I love that aha, right? Knowing what you're sending out in the world, super important. That's why the very first thing that you do at our office is you get your app and you play with it. Because before you start sharing it, you need to know what it does and how to use it. What else? Give me one more.
They're like your own personal assistant. The more you guys get involved in them, they're gonna be able to tell you, oh, I need to make a phone call. I need to call Joe Smith today because it's his birthday. I need to do this. And, the more you set, the more that it's going to be an automated system for you to stay top of mind for all of your clients.
Yep.
Leverage.
Yes.
Right? It's your leverage. So I know when we, in Keller Williams, or when we talk about, leveraging yourself and people talking about hiring an assistant, you have one right here. That's part of your monthly fee.
Yep.
Right? You don't need to spend that extra money, but you guys are in the best position right now as newer agents because you can start off on the right foot. Enter the contact, make sure they have their name, their email, their address, their birthdays, their social media pieces, their, putting them, just getting everything up and running and utilizing this system. You guys are going to crush it.
Hi.
There are some other smart plans that agents can put buyers on. Specifically, I have a lot of my agents that do social media, either paid campaign ads or just regular social media posts, and they'll pick up leads from Instagram or Facebook. And I encourage them to put their agents on a Nick Baldwin social media buyer not Facebook, smart plan.
Awesome. I have not even tried that Nick Baldwin one. I'm going to have to check that out.
It's good. It's emails and text messages, because some of the leads that you get in from Facebook are not necessarily the highest quality of lead. So you don't want to waste a lot of time chasing, making phone calls and trying to connect with them. So you do the initial phone call, the initial text message, and then you put them on a smart plan and kind of set it and forget it until they're ready to pick up.
Exactly. I love that. I have a raised hand here. So if you want to, what's your question?
Hi. My question is that you talk about like putting the social media on the command. So what does it do? Like I put the like the Facebook page on the contact, but like what is the function of that?
So when you're talking about campaigns, if you're doing everything through command posting as well as social media paid ads, what happens is that it basically, if somebody clicks on it, it pulls their information and feeds it right into command. So if I do an ad about us, let me see, I'm going to try to show you. So if you, can everyone see my screen for a second?
Yes.
All right. So right here, all the leads, see how it says Facebook ad lead, Facebook ad lead. So if I click on this person, and again, I'm not doing this to get business, just so we're clear why these don't have follow-up plans on them, but thinking about, it has their phone. So this person clicked on the Facebook ad on this open house. I have their email. I have their phone number. I mean, they're actually green in my health score, which I love. And that gives me all of their information to then add them to a smart plan. So if this person was looking at that, I may add a call and then find a smart plan here that I can add them to and then start to nurture them. Does that answer your question?
No, I think for what my question is that you tell me that put the Facebook page like on the command contact. So what my question is, what does that putting the page on do?
So you mean creating a business page on Facebook?
No,
so
in command under contracts, you can put the link to their Facebook page.
Okay.
Yeah, Lorna and Heidi, I think she's just asking. Yeah, so when you create a new contact, there, if you go to add to like the add extra features, whatever it is, add more details,
add additional,
you can connect their URL.
Yep.
So if you scroll down there, Lorna.
Say more information.
Yep. So I mean, that's just getting more of their information, right? That's just adding as much of their information as possible.
Yeah,
so that's just
social profile.
Right.
Yep. So you would just go to their Facebook page on your Facebook. You would type in their name. If I was friends with you, you'd type in Matt Howard. You'd look at my page. You can You just copy and paste my URL to there. And then that way you have my Facebook page right to there for you.
Yeah, it's just more information you can stalk them by.
Yep.
Well,
what I mean is it do anything instead of me, like, you know, taking my time to put the info on, like, you know, does it do anything?
So what it does is it keeps everything in one place, right? So if I know I'm going to call Heidi, I can click on that right. I don't have to open any other tabs. I click on that social media thing and I could just get an idea of what she's been up to. So when I call, I can say, hey, Heidi, I noticed that you went to Disney. How was it?
It was great, actually.
I looked awesome. I cannot wait to go. Does that make sense? Like, it's really just keeping everything in one place. One of the reasons they created Command was for it to be your one-stop shopping. One place that you can do all of your business instead of opening your email and your MLS and your this and your that. Everything's gonna be in one place.
I think it feel like it doesn't do much to me, because the thing is I still have to look at the Facebook page.
Yep, you do. And there's no way around that. You do need to, but again, instead of now logging into Facebook, you're clicking and it's popping right up. So it's just one less step. So that's really all it is. And again, it's all about just having all of that information in one place. So you can just continually build that person's profile to be as connected to them as possible.
Okay. So what about, so you're talking about, so another thing is that you're talking about the Facebook lead generation. So you get the phone number and the email. So what do you do with it?
So typically you're putting them in some sort of a smart plan, right? So usually when I get notified that I have an ad on an open house, I will give them a call and say, hey, notice that you're, you know, unless it's like 2 a.m, I say, hey, I noticed that you're clicking on the ad about Simon Willard for the open house. Are you going to be able to join me or do you need a private appointment? You know, and then start building from there. You know, how long have you been looking? Are you pre-qualified? I'm asking questions. If they don't pick up the phone, I'm sending an email right through Command. Hey, notice that you were interested in Simon Willard. Do you have any questions? Or will you be joining me for the open house? You know, I'd love to chat with you about this home. Please feel free to give me a call. And then if I don't hear anything, now I'm nurturing them with a smart plan from KW, from Command.
Like, what do you mean nurturing? After they don't want to pick up the phone, they don't want to, like, they don't respond from the email?
Then I may text them. That may be my next, that's what I would do. But if I was not, you know, feeling that bold, I would be putting them on just top of mind every time I'm emailing them. Every other week they're getting, so let's just say the bi-weekly nurture about all the houses that were around that neighborhood. That happened to be in Acton. So they're getting every 2 weeks, just my name in their email. Eventually, unless they are committed to somebody else, you know, when they're ready, they may click on it and I can actually see if they're playing in there. Did you know that? That when they click on different properties, you don't get notified, but you can see it in their profile. You see that Matt says, yes, you knew that, right?
Yes. I have someone set up on one so that way I can see where she's a, you know, an actively searching buyer. You can see what properties they're looking at. So as opposed to like, hey, what have you been doing? It's like, oh, I saw that you looked at 123 Main Street. Is that a property you're interested in going to check out? Should we make an appointment to see that? Or did you look at the pictures and not like that? There's one down the street that's similar. Should we go check out that property? Have you looked at it? No? Okay, well, here it is.
Right.
And I think, Lorna, if anybody else has more specific questions that they want to ask, if we could maybe put them in the parking lot until the end of the session so we can move on and then we can address it at the end.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you, Matt, as well for your feedback. I love that you're using the system and you're able to tell us what it does. All right. So next is qualifying the buyer leads. I knew that we were going to come up on this. So, you know, Joseph had mentioned it earlier, right? So thinking about qualifying the buyer leads, right? So after you have a conversation with them, you can use the buyer lead sheet. We're going to talk about that in a second. And that should be in your participant guide, the buyer lead sheet. If not, it's in your Ignite toolkit.
Yeah.
Thank you, Heidi.
Yeah, I think it's in the toolkit.
It's in the toolkit. So A buyers, ready, willing, and able to purchase in the next few weeks, right? Within 30 days to 60 days.
So Lorna, can I interrupt one quickly here?
Of course.
If we actually look at, because we're used to saying ready, willing, and able, but if we actually look at this, it says able, ready, and willing, because able, you have to have proof of funds or a pre-approval. So you have to be able first. So that's always first and foremost, because they may be ready, but not able.
Great point. And all three of those things do need to fit into place, right? Because ready, what could ready mean?
Let's go. Let's do it now. We have no idea how we're going to pay for it, but let's do it.
But ready also, so they might be able, I mean, they might financially be able, but ready, do they have a lease?
Mhm.
Right? Do you know, do they need to sell a house?
Yep.
So ready, you know, that's an important piece of it. And then willing to purchase a house. Heidi, when you hear willing, what do you hear?
I hear, I hear a couple that I worked with a couple of years ago that the wife was willing and the husband was not. The wife was willing to take on the debt and the husband was not.
Right. So willing, that I love that. That's a great example, Heidi. So,
That was interesting.
yeah, I bet. So making sure that all three of those things are in place, right? So I love, you're right, it is able. So thank you for pointing that out. For B, they're able and ready, but not right now. They're not willing, right? And then C is they're just not ready. They have no immediate need. They may have a very exacting situation. For example, if they can sell their house for a specific price or get a house on a street that they've always loved. So sometimes people say, if you find me a house on the ocean, I'm willing to put my house on the market or I'm ready to buy.
Yeah.
But it's very specific. And people, those type of buyers are really not totally ready, are they?
No.
Right? Because they're looking for that needle in a haystack.
Yep.
So how do you ensure that you're taking care of people every step of the way, no matter if they're an A, B, or C? Nurturing, taking care of them, putting them on the smart plan that makes sense for them. Right? Because if somebody's a C, you may not need to keep in touch as much as someone who's an A. Is that a true statement? Because if they're an A, how often are you keeping in touch with them?
Hopefully pretty often, a
Yeah.
few times a week. You know, hopefully you're moving on with them. You know, you don't want to be, if you have an A buyer, you don't want to be dealing with them for months. You want them in a house in a few months, not over a 6-month period. Again, it depends on their timeline, but yeah, you want to keep them moving.
Right. You want to keep in touch and help them continue to move forward. So how do we figure out who's an A, B, or C?
By talking to them, asking them questions.
That is right. By talking to them and asking them questions with the buyer lead sheet, which is in your toolkit, right? And it gives you a lot of different questions about, you know, what they're looking for. So name, email, address, children's name. How does anybody feel when I say you're asking for children's name? Is that the first thing you're asking when you talk to somebody?
Depends on how it comes up, I think.
I agree with that statement. It would depend on how it comes up. I don't know if I jump to that being the very first question. Right. So thinking about that buyer lead sheet. So how does that happen? So that's just by asking questions, right? Having a conversation. So guess what we get to do right now? We're going to break out into breakout rooms and you guys are going to practice with each other.
Awesome.
So on page 5 of your participant guide, you guys have your participant guide? Right? You're going to get in groups of 3 And you're going to role play with each other to determine whether your role play partner is an A, B, or C. Everybody have the, I'm going to give you a minute while I'm breaking you up to put you into breakout rooms. And we're not done, so don't be leaving me. I saw a couple of people break away. We're not leaving.
Lauren, is this strip practice? Is role play?
Role play is more on just on page 5, just practicing talking to each other and seeing that, asking them questions about if you're able, ready, and willing.
Lorna, we were at 128 when you said breakout room. We're now at 87. So we
I
should
saw that. Isn't
skate
that-
faster to the net.
Wow. Oh my God.
I have a question. I'm new. I was wondering where we could find that buyer toolkit thing.
We will put it in the chat for you.
I'm
Okay,
looking
great.
for it now.
All right. So I'm going to break you out into rooms. Do we need to put that in the toolkit first, do you think?
When you have to put it in the chat
Yes.
now, and people have to download it now because it will be invisible to them when you break them into breakout rooms.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Bear with me. I got to find it.
So as we're partnering with each other, everybody, make sure that you've got it in your mind what you're looking for, right? So you're able to help ask questions and answer questions.
I should mention, if you're an iPhone or a mobile phone, you don't see the links in the chat group. So is there anywhere else you can?
No, you'd have to be on the Facebook page to pull it up.
All right. I mean, I could find it on the Facebook page later on if someone posted in the comments over there, but
yeah,
It's in the units section. So if you go to, and generally you have to do it on a computer. So if you go to Facebook, if you're part of the Keller Williams Ignite 2.0 page, you can go to the units there, and each day is broken up there. So today I want to say is unit 7.
Yep.
oh yeah, I do have the packets. I was wondering if this was something different. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So what I would say for everybody too, thank you, Matt, for pointing that out, that our Ignite 2.0 page, I am pretty sure it was Erin who get that all set up for us. And so every day, if you go and look, you can actually print the participant guide the night before or have it up on your second screen so you're ready to go for the day. I would also say that the toolkit, you should have printed out. I mean, I'm a paper girl, so I like having everything printed out just so that way you have it as a reference for a lot of these different things.
Mm-hmm. So I just dropped the
Page
buyer lead
5 in the
in the
guide.
chat.
And then it's page 5 in the participant guide.
Was everybody able to get the buyer lead sheet in the chat? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right, everybody. I'm ready to break you out if you're ready. You ready?
Ready.
Right. I love to hear ready. Opening all the rooms, and I'll keep an eye. If you don't have somebody in your room, I will move you. All right, Tiffany, what room are you in? Okay. I'm going to move you to 27. Let's see.
Thanks.
Not letting me. Go back to 25, and I'm going to move somebody from 27 to 25. Okay.
Okay, I think I don't know how to do that because it just asked me to join a meeting, and now that I left it, I don't know how to go back to it.
You'd be able to, in your, somewhere in your, I think it's the top right, you should be able to move back. I just put Joanna in your room. If you can't get back there, I will let's see. I'll move you to 27 and then put you back in 25.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's see, 25. All right, try that, Tiffany.
Okay. I still don't have, oh, breakout rooms. Okay, right
Yeah.
here.
Joseph, did you not get in a room?
Honestly, I was taking a shower, so
Okay.
I had to wait my turn to get in the shower today. I've been listening on and off, so I've been following.
Great. Thank you for your feedback. It's been really helpful. So,
I'll just say on those leads for buyers, you know,
yeah.
you could say months, like within the first 30 days, they're going to do something. That may be an A buyer, and B buyer maybe 30 to 60 days, that kind of thing.
Yep.
60 to 90 would be the C.
Yep, I agree.
So, and then maybe a smart plan to target that as far as you're breaking out your buyers, maybe even tag them that way in Command ABC, and you tag them that way and you market them
Yeah,
that way.
tags make a huge difference. I agree. I think that's a great.
Because wasting time on buyers that aren't willing to do something right now is not going to get you to a payday.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
just saying.
I'm going to jump off for 1 second to help somebody.
Sure.
in
Yep.
35. All right, Casey, let's see. You were in room 35, right?
I was, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to move you to room 36 because I see somebody in room 36 all by themselves.
Okay.
And I was in 17 all by myself. This is Joyce.
All right, Joyce. So 17, you're all by yourself.
Yes.
We're going to move you to 16. Try that one. Anybody else need to move into a room that's on with me?
I went to the room, but it's by myself, so I came back in.
All right, what room were you in? Do you know what the number of room you were in?
21.
21. All right, let me put you in another room. Let's see, 21. All right, so I'm going to put you in 22. Hold on. 1 second. All right, try that one.
Lorna,
Yes.
I keep, every time I'm put in a room, for some reason, it kicks me out of my,
What room were you in, Lauren?
I think the first one was 18. I don't know what the second one was though.
All right, let me try you one more time.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Nope.
Karen, I'm going to try you as well. Here you go. Everyone should have a room. Riley, did you just join? Do you want me to assign you to a room? Welcome back. Hello, it's nice to see faces come back.
Well, I was in the middle of asking questions. I accidentally clicked out. Sorry, Karen.
The joy of technology. You know what though? Imagine if we didn't have Zoom, we couldn't do this all together. There's no way we could have a regional Ignite if we didn't have Zoom. So this works out fantastic. How did that go? Pretty good?
I had a private session.
Nice. All by, you mean with one other person?
Just one other person.
That's awesome. I did try to divide it out that way, so that way it was, you know, as private as possible.
Mhm.
My goodness. Everyone came back. Yay!
We were forced back.
I know. You had 60 seconds. So how did that go?
Excellent.
Tell me more about that, Jessica. Why excellent?
Well, I mean, it doesn't feel like a script, this particular breakout. We had a little mishap with trying to get the paperwork together for the questions. We didn't get it right away, but I felt really comfortable, and the person that was practicing with me answered the questions really well. It just went very smoothly, and I was able to get an appointment, and I made sure, I said, you know, between now and then, since they didn't have pre-approval, I said, I want you to reach out to some mortgage brokers and try to find out what you can get pre-approved for coming into the meeting, and also do some research on what you're looking for in a home so that we can hit the ground running and just, you know, go with it.
Awesome. So it sounds like you asked a lot of questions. That's good.
I did.
How about anybody else?
I'll go. This is Matt Waldron. I was dealing with Scott in my room, and we had a great back and forth. We each actually had a turn, being the agent and the client, excuse me. And what we found, I think, was very helpful was going through that. Yeah, it wasn't that scripted like some other ones were. And right when the question said, "Are you working with an agent?" and if the answer was no, we decided that I think that's a great time to ask to work with them, because you're in mid conversation, and if they say no, you don't have an agent, you say, would you like to work with me as your agent? So it's kind of in mid conversation. So all the questions below that now have new meaning, because you're now a fiduciary at that point.
Interesting. Interesting. And so did you figure out through that conversation, Matt and Scott, were you A, B, or C buyers?
I don't think I didn't. No, we were too enthralled in the in calls.
I would say we were probably both. I don't know. Matt mentioned, you know, the next 3 or 4 months. I think I
Yeah.
also mentioned what I'm looking to buy in the next 3 or 4 months. So I don't know. I guess we'd maybe be somewhere between an A and a B.
All right. That's awesome. How about anybody else? Anybody have any C buyers they were talking to? Like not ready? I see Donna raising her hand. How did you know they were a C buyer, Donna?
I was with Sue Gregson. She was lovely, by the way, and in New Hampshire. And, you know, we just kind of did it off the cuff, and her decision was she's looking for a vacation home. And when I asked her, you know, between 1 and 10, how, you know, she would rate herself as a buyer, she said 3. So she was really in no hurry, and only said that, you know, potentially she could turn herself into a 10 if the right property came along at the right price, or she won the lottery. I would term her a C buyer at that point.
There you go. Tim Lindsay, you look like you have something to say, my friend.
Always. Anyway.
He always does, doesn't he?
Yeah. Wow. There it is. Good morning, everybody. So with the A, B, and C, and when I was in production, I would always rate my B buyers as back burner. And I would, you know, I would always put all the blame on myself. I probably hadn't asked them that next question that was going to peel the onion a little bit more to move them into A. C buyer for me was credit. So they, and not that they had to still speak to, like I was in a room with Matt Howard, and we were talking about the fact that, you know, he had somebody in the midst right now that is still going to talk to their lender, and it's not necessarily a broken credit issue, but they just have to, the proof of funds are pre-approval. So, and I'm going to go back to what I think it was somebody was just talking about, giving them the scale of 1 to 10. That's too much room, too much freedom there. I would give them the A, B, and C is 1, 2, and 3. And nobody wants to be below average, right? So I would say, like, on a scale of 1 to 3, 1 being you want to buy it yesterday, and 3 being you've got to work on your credit. Where do we stand, right? And even the pushback she gave. And again, if it's a second home, luxury home, third home, ninth home, God bless them, they have discretionary income. They may not be in a rush. At the same time, I would say that's great. So let's finish this conversation so we know what we're looking for. And let me get a listing cart started for you. Because as she joked about whether if she found something she liked, which we have to put that in front of her, or if she won the lottery, as she's getting this listing cart sent to her on a regular basis, maybe she turns to Steve, her husband, and says, hey, stupid, that boat we don't use anymore, if we sell that, we can afford the house we don't have yet, right? Like there might be something that they actually own as collateral that they could move out of their life to move into this next house. And I think as soon as you start to put the inventory in front of them, and the way we would always have that conversation, whether it's a second home or vacation home or their next home, is if I start to present properties to you so you can get a better idea what's going on in the marketplace, what, feel, felt, found. I understand you feel you're not ready. We've had a lot of clients that have felt the same way. What we found is as our buyers start to keep an eye on the market, when they do move into the transaction, they're more educated and they have a much more enjoyable experience with us. So let's finish this conversation, flesh out what you're truly looking for. Because if that home hit the market tomorrow and you didn't see it because we didn't finish today's conversation, I would feel the blame for that. And I want to make sure we're moving in the right direction for you and your family. You and your loved ones. Don't say family.
So thinking about Tim listing card, because when you said that, I immediately went, what's
listing card, very antiquated term. Yes. Command. Yes.
Yeah.
But
or an MLS daily update,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
For sure.
Any other ahas from this exercise? All right. You guys did awesome. And I totally skipped over role playing for you. So you guys totally had to wing it and use the buyer lead sheet. So when we get back, we're going to play a little bit first, and then we'll get into the last part of signing the buyer agreement. But we are going to take a break because your speaker needs to run and get some water and things like that. So it's 10:39 at 10. It's a quick break. 10:45, 6 minutes, my friends. You have 6 minutes to stretch, move around, get the energy, blood flowing again. And at 10:45, we will start. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Lauren.
Happy 10:45, everybody. We're back. There we go. I start seeing some faces. That's what I like. Welcome back. Was that a much needed break?
Yes.
Sorry it went so long. I try to usually do that by 10:30, but we were going into breakout rooms. So I'm glad that we could all get there. So moving forward, talking about finding the buyer. We've got that figured out, right? Where to find the buyer. Everybody feel confident they can find buyers? Right? And next is qualifying, which we've been talking about. And that buyer lead sheet is so important. So today, when we're not doing it yet, so don't start unclicking, but for script practice, one of the things we're going to talk about is calling referrals. So who would like to be the person that I'm calling as a referral? Who can play with me? Heidi, you going to play with me today? All right, Heidi. So I'll need you to unmute.
Yep.
Awesome. So ring, ring.
Hello.
Hi, Heidi. This is Lorna Helms from Keller Williams. How are you today?
Good, Lorna. How are you?
Good. Our mutual friend Tim Lindsay asked me to give you a call. He said that you were thinking about, buying a home in the next year. Is that true?
Yes, I am.
Great. And he thought that, I might be able to help you. So I'd love to get a little bit more information. Would that be okay, Heidi?
Sure.
Awesome. So Heidi, tell me, what's prompting this move?
We want to downsize.
Downsize. How big is the house you have now?
It's 3 bedrooms and we'd like to go down to 2.
So two bedrooms. And how many people are going to be moving?
2.
2 of you. Okay. So 2 bedrooms, two people. And what areas are you looking to downsize in? What town?
So we're looking to stay in Rhode Island. We're thinking of a condo.
Oh, okay. Great. And Heidi, can I just get your current address now?
Sure. It's 123 Circle Drive, East
Yep.
Providence, Rhode Island.
Wonderful. And do you plan to sell that house in order to buy the condo?
Yes, we do.
Okay. And do you have a timeline for that? What's your plan in terms of, I know our friend Tim said a year.
Oh, you wait till I talk to Tim. Yes, I think about within a year.
Within a year. Okay, great. And have you started looking already?
We have. We haven't gone out to any open houses or anything. We've just been looking online, but they seem to be disappearing rather quickly.
Yes, that is so true. And have you, so you said you've been looking online. Did you go to open houses?
No, we were just looking at some of the photos online.
Just looking at the photos online. Okay. And what price range are you thinking?
We would like to keep it under $250. I'll be paying cash for most of it.
Okay, so paying under $250, paying cash for most of it. And is that cash coming from the sale of your current home?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. And so it sounds like you're gonna have a little bit of a mortgage.
Yeah, probably less than 50,000.
Okay, great. And have you talked to a mortgage lender?
Yep, we're pre-approved.
Okay, great. I probably already asked that question, didn't I? See, I don't have my lead sheet in front of me. Now you said a condo. Do you have any pets?
We do. So we have to find one that will accept our 2 dogs.
So 2 dogs. And how big are your dogs?
They're under 30 pounds.
Under 30 pounds. And is there anything in particular you're looking for that's in a condo? A first floor, a second floor, a townhouse?
We would like a townhouse if possible.
Okay, so you're fine with stairs?
So far, so good. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, I know a lot of times when people say downsize, they're thinking future pacing, right? And so a lot of people ask one level. So I always like to ask that question. Is a garage or under, parking important for you?
We need a garage underneath. Yep.
Okay, great. And did we already talk about towns?
No.
Okay, so what towns are you thinking about?
We're looking to stay in Rhode Island, so maybe something in the South County area or along the water.
Along the water or South County area. Okay. And do you both still work?
Yes.
Okay, great. And so is a commute important?
Not for me. I work from home.
Okay.
Oh, you said I didn't realize like.
What about for the other person?
She is a technician that drives all over the place, so no.
So commuting is not important for either one of you. So those towns in Rhode Island, it doesn't really matter.
No.
Okay, great. As long as it's near the water or in South County?
Yeah, South County area and fairly close to the water, but not waterfront.
Okay, it doesn't need to be waterfront. Okay, that's great. All right, I'm going to stop there. Just I wanted to kind of give you that. What did you, obviously that I didn't have my lead sheet, so I wasn't as organized as I should have. What did I miss? It's okay. This is, you guys can tell me. I know what I missed. We did talk time frame.
I don't feel like you asked if she's working with somebody else.
Yeah, she didn't.
Nope.
Yeah.
What else? I didn't even ask the other person's name. You guys catch that? I left some stuff out on purpose, just so you know. Did I get her email address?
No.
No, I got her snail mail and obviously got her phone number. So there's a few things that a lead sheet helps you stay on task. Would you not agree with that?
Yeah, because you definitely want to find out the best way to communicate with them.
That's right. That's right. So there's a few things that I didn't get to, but again, did that a little bit quickly, but thinking about that lead sheet and practicing with each other, because one of the things hopefully you saw was that was conversational.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So why was she moving? What was important? That was one of the first things I asked her. Why was she moving to downsize? Right? All right. Was that helpful? A little bit? I mean, it really does need to be.
I thought it was helpful.
That easy, right? Thank you for playing with me today, Heidi. That was great.
Thank him to refer me to you.
Yeah, Tim, thanks so much for that referral.
You asked so many more questions, which I think that was helpful. Many more questions you asked than are on the lead sheet. So I actually plan to go back and replay that section because they were all good questions. And I said, oh, that would have been a good thing to ask a buyer. So I just want to underscore that you actually brought a lot more than what's on that buyer sheet.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the thing is the buyer sheet is that framework to always dig deeper, right? Yeah. So I know you've already heard that in the last 7 sessions about asking 3 deep. And Tim Lindsay, I think you say 4 deep, don't you? Am I right on that?
No, but if people think that's brilliant, I'll take credit for it. But I think we always need to ask the next question.
Okay, just making sure.
People end up.
Someone had told me 4.
Yeah, people end up excluding themselves from the conversation of moving forward with real estate because we haven't asked the question that sort of pushes the circumstances out of the way, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of this is all, so the next thing we're going to talk about is getting that buyer agreement, but it's also, this isn't in place. This is only my first phone call to her. So I just want to get some basic information. And typically I would have ended that with, Heidi, this has been great to give me an overview of what you're looking for. Could you and your partner, could we meet on Saturday at 3 or Sunday at 12, either via Zoom or in person, so we can really have a proper consultation and I can really find out how I can help you best?
Yeah.
That's how the conversation should have ended.
Yeah. And it's always good to remember when you're asking questions in this conversational way, to always be asking why. So why is that important? What will that do for you?
Digging deeper.
Digging deeper. And then setting the appointment. And at the appointment, you can go into a little bit more about, features that they want in the property. And
this first conversation is really to qualify them, right? I'm calling to see if she's ready to have that next conversation, which is the buyer consultation.
Mm-hmm.
Is she A, B, or C?
Yep.
Right. All right. Thank you. All right. So we're ready to move on. Let's see. I would ask someone, so what brought you to the decision to invest in your future? I like that. Oh, I see a hand raised. Amber.
Hi, I put it in the chat, but I didn't know if it got lost. I was gonna say, is there like a place? So for example, I had an appointment yesterday with a buyer and I wanted to make sure I hit all the points because like there's a script that's like, I'm gonna ask you 500 questions today so we can find the right property and don't waste our time. But like, where do I find those 500 questions I should be asking? Like it's such as like, you know, I know like the basics like area and price range and stuff, but like features, like I know like what's important, but like, is there an actual list or a checklist somewhere that I could like print out and personalize to how I want to talk to people, you know?
So the buyer consultations that are on command is one place where it will go through a lot of those for you. I'm sorry, Amber, did you say something?
I can't hear you. I'm sorry. What did you say?
I said that if you look on command, we have a buyer consultation, which goes through a lot of those questions. I know our market center has their own buyer consultation as well, like a PowerPoint that we use that has a lot of those questions. KW Connect, the buyer consultation. So there's a few different places. Tim, Heidi, you guys, your market.
Well, honestly, too, Amber, quite honestly, if you get in the weeds with what they're looking for a property, I would say less is more, right?
Okay.
If there's a driveway with space on the side of the house for a future garage, if there's a big enough wall in the living room to add the insert gas fireplace later, because when we go way into the weeds, they're going to miss a property that could have been. And again, there's no such thing as 100% house. Even if they build it from the ground up, they're going to look at it when it's done and be like, oh man, we should have put rooferettes over the garage. They're rarely ever going to find that 100% house. So just getting them into the house that they can build upon and add to later. Don't get too caught up in the features. I want to know bedrooms. I mean, more often than not, privacy of the yard and the lifestyle of the neighborhood is really what they're after. I think if you find the right lifestyle and the right neighborhood for somebody, they don't care if it's a colonial or a gambrel. Quite honestly, as long as it suits their needs for their loved ones, I think they'll be happy. So don't get too wrapped up in, you know, the deck and all that kind of stuff. There's stuff they can add later. And more often than not, when you're working with a first-time home buyer, they're looking for the 4-car garage and they have a Vespa and a cat. They don't need the 4-car garage. So we have to sort of walk them back to reality and work well within their means, you know?
Well,
yeah, I've basically just went with my instincts on like basic stuff and what I would be looking like, what's important as far as privacy and stuff like that. So that's great.
Well, and I think I like what you said about thinking about all of the different pieces. You could spend hours talking about every single feature and just that broad stroke overview in the buyer consultation, which this was not. This was just calling a lead that was given to me and getting information. Right. So that digging
Perfect.
deeper.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right.
Yeah.
You guys ready?
I hear that.
Moving on.
Yeah.
All right. So we went through the buyer lead sheet. We did that. Role play. We're going to talk about signing the buyer agreement. Why do you think it's important to find that buyer agreement?
Because you want to get the person on the hook with you so that you can be their representative.
You want commitment. We want commitment, my friends. Because in your life of real estate, you only have so many hours in a day and so many people you can work with. And that's what you want to make sure you're sharing is, I need to work with committed people, right? So you have to ask for the business. So signing the buyer agreement. Once you figured out if they're A, B, or C, when will you be ready to buy? We ask for that buyer appointment for the consultation and giving them alternatives. Well, we could meet. Can you meet? Did you notice I did that when I was talking about how I would have closed that? Can you meet tomorrow at 2 or Friday at 3? And you know what that comes back to? Time blocking. Making sure in your calendar, where are you free to meet with them? Because if you don't have your calendar in front of you as you're having the conversation, oh, wait, let me open my calendar. Okay. But if you have every day at 3 is when I'm going to have consultations, listing consultations, or Saturdays at noon or whatever your schedule allows, but block it off in there. And if, Tim, I don't have an appointment to meet with somebody at 3 o'clock at that scheduled buyer consultation, what should I be doing?
Lead generation. And that's why Lorna, you'll notice Lorna is going to set appointments. She's always going to give me an option of Tuesday at 2 or Thursday at 3. It's never going to be sacred time. Sacred cow is the morning, right? We're always going to be in lead generation in the morning. And if you don't have any appointments in the afternoon, guess what your face gets to do in the afternoon? More lead generation, right? Like Gary would say, lead generate your face off until you have an appointment, and only ever book your appointments in the afternoon so you can keep that time in the morning for lead generation. Well, I have an appointment now. I can take the morning off. You can. It's up to you. I would argue you should probably book more appointments, because we ask this question all the time in training, right? Does anybody have too much money in the bank? Does anybody have too many buyer or listing appointments? Does anybody have too many listings? Usually nobody's hands go up, right? So sacred, sacred, sacred. Save that morning for lead generation so your appointments can be in the afternoon. By appointment, and that way you're giving them the freedom of choice. You're not telling them when they're going to meet. And I used this once because I was trying to nail somebody down once, and I was trying to just really make sure they understood that I was busy. We can meet tomorrow at 2 or tomorrow at 2. That was my choice. And she's like, that's not really a choice. I'm like, well, my week is full and I do want to meet with you, but we can make it happen tomorrow at 2, right?
I feel that new realtors feel reluctant to do that. I know with a lot of my coaching agents, they feel that they need to be accommodating to the buyers. And what I train my agents is, you train your buyers and sellers the way you want to be treated. So if you want to constantly be at their beck and call, then make yourself available always when they're available. If not, train them that they're going to follow your schedule.
Yeah, well, I mean, right, getting started, as Lorna said earlier, with the paperwork, just starting the whole process with the paperwork and reminding them this is a professional environment. They're being treated as a first-class client. And above and beyond that, if they were going to go get a root canal, they're not picking their appointment. They're being told when their face needs to be in the chair to get it drilled off, right? If I'm going to pick up my Ferrari, I'm getting told when I can pick it up.
Yep.
Right. Like it's by appointment, and by appointment is exclusivity. And that's a different level of service. And when you really start to move forward, Sacred Cow is my niece's soccer game, my son's lacrosse game, dinner with my wife, like all those things that they don't get to know what my schedule looks like. I'm letting them know when I have availability in my schedule. Can you do Friday at 5? No, I'm married and I like it that way. So no, I can't do Friday at 5. Love you too, though. How about Thursday at 4? Right?
It just makes us look more professional.
Correct.
If it looks like we have our stuff together. Do you know what I mean? And I also think that it also speaks to how we're going to interact with the other agent, because it's a professionalism, like a respect for yourself.
And even if you have to take it a step further, Jessica, you're explaining to them, listen, I'm going to be meeting with you and your loved ones from 2 to 2:30 or 2 to 3. And at 3 o'clock, my attention is going to be with somebody else. You're part of my clientele at that point. And at the same time, I'm going to give uninterrupted attention to my other clients as well. And that's how my team, and you go back to your history of success, that's how my team helped 48 families last year. And our days on market was the shortest. And our our list to sell ratio was the tightest. All those things, that we want to keep going back to our history of success and match it and mirror it to their desire to be moving forward. What is their motivation? And asking that, like Heidi said earlier, interesting. What's important about that for you, Mr. Lindsay? Why is that important? What's important about moving next Thursday or meeting next Thursday as opposed to next Friday? Or why getting into this neighborhood? What's important about that? And keep asking those questions. If we take the time to make time exclusive for them and then ask great questions, you're going to win every time. Always.
And this goes back to the buyer, getting that buyer agreement. You can't just ask for that without showing value, right? And without connecting. And so that buyer, consultation, where you're asking all of those questions and digging deeper and making connections. Then when you say to them, so when I work with buyers, I look for them to, every state's different. So I'm going to be very general here, but we have an agency disclosure in Massachusetts, but whatever, that's not a commitment. The buyer representation agreement or the buyer contract is that next step, right? And so now that I understand it better, Heidi, after having my full buyer consultation, I understand what she's looking for. I feel like we could be a great fit. So what I'd love to do is talk with you about the buyer agreement. What that means is that, I can take 10 buyers out It's probably high, isn't it? But let's say 10. I have 10 buyers that I can work with at one time. And I would love for you to be one of them. So in order to do that, we need this commitment. And by that point, she already knows, because I've asked her so many questions, that I care about her. So the next step is, let's get committed. Let's sign the contract, right? Because I've talked to them. I found out if they're ready, willing, and able. They are. Or able, ready, willing. That's going to stick in my mind, Heidi, forever now. I've had the appointment, the buyer consultation. They are pre-approved and ready to go. I want to help them. Does that make sense? So thinking about that, the buyer consultation, we're not recapping yet. Do you know why? Because if I have an appointment with Heidi, if I'm talking with Heidi that very first time, like, hey, sign the agreement, and I haven't dug deep with her, does she trust me?
No.
So one thing in this course, in this Ignite, that skips over is you've qualified them and now you're asking for the agreement. But you do have that buyer consultation in between. And I want to be really clear, that is part of asking for the commitment. So having the buyer consultation is going to make your life easier and their life easier. Do you know why? Tell me why. Do you have no idea why?
Because now I have,
Go ahead, Vilma.
because now I have someone that I can trust, that I know that is there for me to help me, and that I can ask any type of questions, any doubts that I might have.
Exactly. So a great buyer consultation is mostly you asking questions and them doing a lot of the talking. But the second piece of that buyer consultation is that you're going to go through the process of what does it look like? Because I actually don't live in Rhode Island or New Hampshire, so I don't know what the process is. It's probably similar to Massachusetts, but it's different. In Rhode Island and New Hampshire, do you have 2 contracts or 1? I don't know. You guys have to tell me.
What do you,
For writing an offer on a property, do you have 1 contract?
Just the one on purchase and sale. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, so you have 1. We have 2 in Massachusetts.
That's
So
right.
I'm
You
moving to
501,
Huh?
503, right?
Do you have an offer and an offer to purchase? No, sorry, excuse me. An offer to purchase and then a purchase and sale. So our process is similar but different. But if somebody's coming from another area or they've never bought a house, do they know the process?
Okay, no.
So who's the expert on the process?
Agent.
You guys are the expert on the process. That's right. So we're asking good questions. We're understanding what they want, and then we're explaining how it's going to work. So at the end, we know what they want, and they know what the expectation is of the process. Does that make sense? So when I say to them, so in order to work together, I have a buyer agreement that I work with my buyers, and I go through it and I explain it to them. What do you think the pushback is at that point?
I don't want to sign an agreement. I don't want to sign a contract.
That is possible, right? Yet again, because I've done the value with them, I've asked questions and provided that I care about them and then explain the process, I don't usually get pushback on an agreement. Because by that point, they know I'm committed to them.
Yeah, but my cousin Vinny is also a real estate agent. I might want to use him instead. You know, I understand, Lorna, that you have a lot of value, a million years of experience, and you know every single house in the neighborhood, but he's my cousin.
Well, let me ask you this, PF. How come you didn't have a buyer consultation with your cousin?
Oh, I see him every weekend. So we talk all the time.
And has he asked you a lot of these questions?
Oh, I don't know. I think I ask him all the questions.
You ask him all the questions. So if the perfect house came up, has he told you, from this conversation about 123 Main Street? Because this sounds like something that you'd be interested in seeing.
Good point. I don't think you told me that.
Yeah, so you can see, PF, why the importance of us having this conversation, because just from all of those questions that you answered and myself knowing the inventory, I think that 123 Main Street is a great fit. So one of the things that you'll find that when you work with me is that I'm going to be proactive because I now really have a good sense of what you're looking for. Does that make sense?
Now that you put it that way, yes, it does.
Okay. Awesome. Nice job. Thank you for giving me an objection handler to handle. So before we start with scripts, which I'm going to tell you which script we're going to use to practice, I would love to hear some ahas on finding buyers, and getting the buyer agreement signed. Ahas, comments, questions.
Hi, can I ask question before you get into AHA?
Yes.
So because when I see that in the for the buyer agreement, are you ask them to buy this agency disclosure agreement, or just or is it actually a exclusive buyer agreement?
So depending on the state you're in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Okay, so in Massachusetts, you do the agency disclosure at the first time to meet with a client to discuss a specific property. That is not the buyer agent agreement.
Mm-hmm.
That is just the disclosure of who you're working for.
So so is it a requirement for them to sign the exclusive buyer agreement?
That is market center specific, and I know that we hang out at around 12 afterwards, so I can definitely talk with you about more specifics, but you should check with your market center leadership. We highly recommend that you have a buyer agreement signed.
Yeah, because in the dog route, it say, they say that agency disclosure is mandatory, and say mandatory in there, and then we say the buyer agreement it say in there it say optional. So that's what I want to make sure.
Yep, and so by licensing law in Massachusetts, I can speak to say that agency disclosure is required. A contract is not working with buyers. But
It's true in Rhode Island.
It's same in Rhode Island?
I believe. Check with Heidi, but I'm almost certain that the buyer agreement is not required.
It's not.
So somehow I think
But
she's
encouraged,
confused.
strongly encouraged.
Yeah.
I think she's getting confused with the agreement with the buyer and with the disclosure.
And I think that we clarified that, right? I mean, that the disclosure is a requirement by the state to make sure you do that, of who you're working for. The agreement is a commitment between two people to work together. Because I know when you're new, it might not feel like this right now, but as you get busier, you only have so many hours in a day to work with people. Do you want to work with somebody who's going to work exclusively with you? Or not?
Yes.
Thank you, Matt.
Yes.
Yes. I want that commitment, right? I mean, if we have buyers who are dating every agent in town, what's the commitment?
There isn't one.
And you know what happens, Matt, is I call and I say, oh my gosh, I saw 123 Main Street's perfect for you, Matt. And they say, oh, my other agent called me earlier, because there's no commitment. So get the commitment. That's what the buyer agency agreement is about, that you're willing to spend your very valuable time helping them, and that they're willing to trust you to do that.
But then the thing is that you have to ask them for sign two form at the second meeting.
That is right, you do.
So I think it's just like ask them to sign one form is only enough, and then you actually have to ask them to sign two form. So I mean, is it like, I mean, are there people that agree to sign two form basically?
Absolutely. They do it all the time. It's just like when you list a house, and I'm just going to always bring it back to that. When you list a house, they sign the agency disclosure, depending on your state, and then they sign the contract for you to list their house. So tell me the difference between working with a seller and working with a buyer. I want commitment from either one, don't I? There is no difference.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is you don't want to get into like with the other agents, the problem with other agents.
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Because the thing is, if you have the agreement with the buyer or seller, you know, so you're already under agreement, you know. But if they haven't signed, and then you don't want to bound into like have a conflict with other agents later on.
Correct. It gives you the commitment.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Well, to jump in on that, I feel like it's a lot easier to get the signed agreement and commitment from a buyer because the buyer's not the one paying you. So people feel a little bit more sound about signing an agreement because financially they're not on the line with you so much. It's the seller that's actually paying you. So I got my first buyer's agent. They signed an agreement in like 2 seconds and it was no problem because they didn't have to worry about paying me. So it's not as scary to sign a buyer's agreement, I feel it.
Well, for clarity's sake, let's just make sure that we do understand that that contract you're signing with the buyer, it does, when you read that contract, and every state's a little bit different, it does state that this commitment is the buyer is agreeing to support your commission, and it's your commission. It actually states that they're paying the market center, right? Or your broker for that matter. So I appreciate that, yes, the funds are coming from the transaction of the sale of the house, and it's coming from an agreement that's already been made between the listing agent and the seller. At the same time, your buyer is committing to support that commission. That's why it's important. So back to the question from beforehand, you know, I guess we have to ask ourselves, are we going to be hobbyists or professionals? And if you just make it a given that I'm always going to have a signed contract, because I can tell you at Market Center 463, you can have a whole bunch of things and not have your buyer's agency contract. And Kaylee's just going to give you that stare. And now she's had her first child, so she's got the mom stare now. She's just going to give you that look. And the look is, what are you doing? Because in the grand scheme of things, because we are a big company now, if we get audited and all the paperwork's not up to snuff, it's not a great place to live. So I would not want to become the realtor, the business person that's like, oh, they're a buyer. I can't remember if I got them signed or not. Just get them signed. Make it what you do. Make it part of your process and elevate the conversation and remind them, remind them all of this paperwork is put in place on behalf of the state to protect you as the consumer. And it grants me the opportunity to go fight for my family's greatness and ask for my 3 apples, whatever amount of apples your buyer's agency contract says. Please don't get into the habit of saying, okay, I'm going to sign buyer's agency after we find the house, and this particular house is only supporting 2 or 2.5 apples. So that's what the contract's going to say. You know, decide what you're worth as a buyer's agent and always have your contract say that amount. And if there's a delta between what the seller is offering and what your contract says, you can work that out after the fact. And that's an entirely different conversation.
And
I
I would
didn't mean to muddy the already muddy waters. I just want to make sure people are clear about the contracts and what they actually mean.
And I appreciate that, Tim, because that was coming next out of my mouth. So I appreciate you jumping in and also understanding that all over the country, there's starting to be lawsuits about seller agents paying buyer agents. And so by us telling buyers, I think we have to get out of the habit of saying we're free. You're not paying us, right? Because if there's no transaction, nobody's getting paid, right? We're getting paid out of the transaction. And so I just would be careful as
Great point, Lorna.
That the winds of change are coming in real estate for that.
Yeah, it's coming to a theater near us that you're probably in the next handful of years going to be having a conversation with your buyer that they are financially committed to, that they're supporting your commission directly. That's probably going to start to sweep the nation in the coming years. So prepare yourself for that by having a real strong conversation about supporting your commission. They're giving you, by signing this paper, the ability to go support, to fight for your commission, right? And I'm going to negotiate for you and my family all in the same conversation. And my commission is not going to keep you out of the house you're looking for, right? Just because the paperwork says 3 and this house is offering 2.5 isn't going to keep me from pursuing this home for you. Because the 0.5% we can make up in this conversation, or you can send me all of your loved ones for the rest of your natural life. And I'm not going to step over dollars to pick up pennies. I'm going to have that conversation with them. And I'd rather get 15 referrals from this person between now and the end of time than fight for my missing 0.5%. And we can have that conversation later, but please edify yourself by getting the contract signed.
Exactly. All right, Johanna.
I think also I want to add to the point that, I think also in the listen agreement that, because you actually put the percentage how much commission you charging the buyer. Like, I think it's it could be like okay, for example, I will put like 2.5%. But then if in the list is in
Wait. We're going to stop right here for a second. Okay, we're not going to talk about numbers or percentages or anything else. We are a multi-brokerage conversation, so we're not talking about numbers right now. Let's do this. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing your name right. Huming, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to have a conversation. You're going to text me. You're going to put in the chat your phone number, and I'm going to give you a call after to talk about that. Okay?
I think I understand what you mean, that we're not supposed to talk about like the number percentage.
Correct. Oh, okay.
I think my point is that, I think in the leasing agreement that, we do put the percentage how much we charge. And if the buyer look into the house that, the leasing agent offer less the percentage, I think the buyer have to pay you the extra percentage that you are, that you supposed to like charging them. I think that will be in another problem later on. I think that's why it's, you actually have to tell your buyer to be aware of that, because that is actually a contract.
So you're setting the expectation around what you're expecting to be paid. And as Tim said, if there's a difference between what they're offering in MLS and what is in your contract with your buyer, there may need to be a conversation about how to make up that difference.
Mean pants.
Is
It's
that
a great conversation to have offline.
Yep, perfect. All right.
And for Lorna, the point that Lorna was making, if wherever there are two or more of us gathered at an Applebee's and we're having a couple of cocktainis, we don't start discussing percentages in public, right? Ironic that I used apples and Applebee's, but yes, we don't discuss any of that, because that turns into collusion and that we are price fixing and all that kind of stuff. So we're never discussing in a public forum or amongst two or more of you in your market center about what you're doing with your percentages. Just for clarity's sake, you want that hard and fast in your contract, so you have the opportunity to defend that moving forward.
Awesome.
Into that point,
Wait,
also,
I'm just going to, poor Joanna has been waiting so patiently, and I just want to have her ask her question. Joanna, do you have a question?
It was just going back to the previous person on the freebie service, which it's been totally discussed. I just wanted, to point that out, that your contract also has a commission, a fee for service. And if it's not covered, then it's not a free service, no payment for the buyer. That's all. We're done on that one.
Thank you. All right.
so, and to Tim's point, if I may, we're all Keller Williams agents. So that means that we're actually realtors. That means that we're members of the National Association of Realtors. And that means that we're held to a higher standard. And that means that we do not ever use the word percentage and a number. That's why when Tim was saying apples and Lorna was saying bananas and stuff like that, we only use apples and bananas when talking about commission, because that way nobody gets confused with collusion, potential collusion. So please, as real estate agents from Keller Williams, realtors of Keller Williams, only use fruit when you're talking about commission outside of a direct conversation with your colleague. Thank you.
With your brokerage.
Thank you. And if you're a health nut and you want to accept fruit as a commission, you can do that too. It's a free country. Godspeed.
Perfect. All right. So now comes the time where we practice scripts. So do not all leave me. I see 81 people. All of you stay on, because this is one of the biggest parts of your job is learning how to speak with your clients. So who has the Ignite toolkit with the script in it, the script book? Anybody?
Which one do you want? Are we looking at Spark script book still? Are we looking at Elemental script book?
We're looking at Spark. So I am going to show you on, let's see, hold on one second.
I'm going to upload it right now so everybody can grab it. Stand by.
Thank you. Oh, where is it? Hold on one second. I'm going to show you the one that I want to talk about today. It's Ignite, Spark, Toolkits, and Scripts. So in that is, scroll down through the script book, see how much the toolkit has, all these things. But if you get here, we're looking at page, calling referrals. So it is page 9. Do you see that right there? Calling referrals, page 9 in the Ignite Toolkit and Script book. See how, remember I just used this when I called Heidi? I said, hi, Heidi, my name is Lorna Helms. Tim said I should give you a call. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Tim.
Wide awake, wide awake.
So we're going to use that script. Does everybody want to take a picture if you don't have it already printed out of the screen? What do you think? Think that's a good idea, Tim?
Sure.
Take a picture. So you can only see like 2 faces, so I can't see if people are taking a picture, or did you download it?
It should be at 11:25 in the group chat is the PDF with the Ignite Spark script book.
Awesome. So guess what time it is now? Script practice time. So we are going to, oh my gosh, we lost 10 people.
Yes, push play, push play.
Yes,
Stop
I
telling
know.
them what.
Recreating,
Stop telling them what we're doing.
All right,
We're
all
all
right,
going to meet
all
in
right.
separate rooms for cake. Stick around. It's going to be great.
Oh, cake. All right. We are ready, set, go. Have fun, everybody. Practice up. You got 10 minutes.
Okay, join.
Jeffrey, did you not end up in a room? Oh, Jeffrey, I gotta move you now.
Lorna, this is Matt Waldron. Could you put me in a room as well?
Sure. What room were you in?
I don't know. I think I hit the return button, but it was on the don't go in.
Okay, hold on one second, Matt. Looking through. Matt, which Matt are you? Which Matt?
Matt Waldron. I'm trying to get my camera to work here too.
I know you. I saw you earlier. Okay, Matt, you are in room 26, so I'm not sure why it didn't show up for you.
I came back because I was in a group alone.
Okay, what group were you in, Karen?
Oh, I don't remember, but it said group number 1. I was just one person.
Okay. All right, I'll find out what room you were in, Matt. I just put you in another room. All right, Karen, let's see what room number you were in. Because sometimes people don't join. I see. Okay. We're putting you in 32. All right, try that, Karen.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
There was no one in my room.
Okay, what room were you in, Jessica?
I think 9 or something. I don't know. I don't remember.
Right, hold on.
Maybe you put because you put too many long, because we don't have enough people to put too many long.
It says there's only 18 people on right now.
Well, that's because the people are in breakout rooms.
Okay.
All right, so Jessica, I'm putting you in a room. You ready?
Oh yeah, George said he was alone too.
Okay.
And
I was alone as well.
I'm going.
All right, guys, keep it up. I'm moving ya.
Yeah, I was by myself. Like I may have one person, but then we left again.
All right, what room were you in? Do you know?
23.
23. All right, I'm moving you into 24.
Lorna, I was alone as well.
What room were you in, Johnny?
I can't remember.
Yeah. All right. let's see. Because I have to find the room you're in to move you to a different room.
Oh, sure.
All right, I'm gonna move you to room 13. Try that.
Okay, thank you.
I was alone as well, Vivian, and I don't know what room I was in. I did not make note of that.
All right, Vivian, give me a minute and I'll find where you were and then I will move you. Vivian. All right, I am moving you to room 21. Paige, what room are you in?
I didn't see that, but the script partner I normally use is in room 17, if I can possibly go there.
You were in room 18. Somebody's in there.
Oh, well, I might have left prematurely, but I was there by myself for a few
All right, I'm gonna put you in 17.
Thank you.
And let's see, who else is missing a room? Did you get it, Paige?
No, not yet.
Weird.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't get it either.
you guys, if you look on there, there's in the 3 buttons, I think it is, or at the bottom, it should say like join room.
Oh, yes, I see that. Thank you.
Is it on the bottom?
Yep.
Yeah, on the bottom, Vivian.
Okay, thank you.
George, we're gonna move you. See, bless you. I just heard somebody sneeze. Let's see, 27. There you go, try that. I moved you, George. Let's see. Make sure nobody's around. Alone.
I was alone in room 11.
All right, let's move you. We're gonna move you to room 8. Try that.
Okay.
Thank you. Joseph, do you want to go in a room?
I'm just listening. I don't have the script in front of me, but I'm listening in. I'm not a new agent, so kind of like copying the mail, as an old CB saying would say.
Just picking up nuggets along the way.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. Well, and you're sharing your wisdom too with it. I appreciate.
I have a lot more, believe me, I do.
How long have you been in business, Joseph?
Going on 6 years.
Awesome. What market center are you in?
184, Keller Williams Central, Rhode Island.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Rhode Island.
It is a great market center.
I mean, Dave Hill's got a really good thing on sellers that I could share with the group. I'm thinking about sharing that. I just got to upload it.
Yeah, there's lots of good. Well, we're doing buyers today, but if you save that
Well,
for
tomorrow.
tomorrow when we're
Yeah,
doing
tomorrow.
sellers, that would be awesome. Oh,
Yeah.
Jill came back. Jill, do you need a room?
I do.
All right. What room were you in before, Jill?
Oh, you know what? I don't remember the number.
Yeah, it's all right. I'll look for you. Let's see.
Can you also, since I have you, can you tell me if we're in Sparked or Elementals and what page?
Spark, and I want to say it's page 9, but
Great, I can. I'll definitely catch myself up to speed.
All right, Jill, you were in room 29, and it looks like somebody's in there.
Yeah, somebody was in there and they were muted and on the phone. So I'm not sure if they put the phone down. And
All right, I'm moving you to a new room.
awesome. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Allison, do you want me to move you into a room?
Lorna, if I may, Vivian was going to tell us something, Scott and me, and we got cut off. So if we-
No. I was just saying, it was nice to listen to you guys since I joined late because I was in a room by myself. So I just wanted to hear what you guys, had in progress. So that's why I didn't say anything.
Sometimes it's nice just to hear what other people are saying, right? And be the listener on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Because
What friend?
but what you maybe don't want to say, right? All right, everybody, how'd it go?
Good.
Great.
Well,
Went well. That's awesome. I love that we have a lot of friendships starting. Have you found that?
Definitely.
Yep.
I
Did
love
everybody
that.
else have cake? We had cake. It was great.
You know, I just want to say I've been noticing this about this company. I mean, I'm new in real estate, but I've heard lots of things from people over the years from different brokerages that they work for. And I'm so impressed with Keller Williams because, I mean, obviously they have this great training, but there's a sense of camaraderie and support and leadership. And it doesn't seem that cutthroat environment that I hear a lot of people say. I just really appreciate all of you guys because you're so helpful and positive. So thank you.
Awesome. That's awesome for all of you guys. That's great. I love that. And it is true. I mean, every single day I find that you make more friends and the camaraderie is there. You guys are making right now friends that you're going to be at family reunion in 5 years and where you can all be back together.
5 years.
You can be like, oh, do you remember we were at night together? Like you will find that will work and you'll start giving each other referral business. That's one of the things I love about this regional event. So my friends, are you excited to find buyers?
Yes.
Yes, that's what I like. That was quiet for a second. And are you ready to make some phone calls to do that? To find some buyers?
Sure.
Sure. I love that. All right. So what we're going to do, you cannot leave me. If you leave me, you're going to see crying Lorna on Facebook. That will be embarrassing for all of us.
We're giving away a Buick to one lucky winner when you come back.
Buick. You are not leaving. We're not breaking out in breakout rooms. We're all going to be together. We're going to pick up our phones and we're going to make, because we don't have a lot of time today, you are going to call till you talk to one person. And what are we going to say? We're going to say this.
Hi.
Go ahead, PF. Hi.
We were just going to say hi.
Hi. That's it. Hi. Just want to say hi. Hire me.
Hi, this is Karen Walton calling from Keller Williams. How are you? I just want to give you a couple of minutes of your time just to find out if you know the real estate market, what's going on in your area, if you need any help from me. I have a great app I can share with you. I don't know. I'm just like doing it off the cuff.
Well, I love that you pulled that right off the cuff. And that's why we have our script books, right? So in that script book, there's one that says, hi, I'm new to real estate, right? Talk a little bit about that. There's one that's the Ford script that just says, hey, Tim, how's the family?
They're great because I'm not home.
and work is busy?
It's phenomenal. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And have you gotten out skiing yet this year?
We typically toboggan, but yeah, we've gotten out a couple times. Yeah.
Good. You're lucky you got some snow. We have no snow here.
Mm.
And did you ever buy that rental property in Maine?
We didn't. It burned to the ground.
Oh man.
So we're looking. I'm glad you asked.
And do you have an agent in Maine?
I have a few agents in Maine. I don't like any of them though. So do you know anybody that I could work with?
Oh my gosh, I do. You know, in fact, some might be on this call.
Hmm.
So just use the Ford script, right? Just check in and see how they're doing. Well, Tim, one of the reasons for my call today is that my goal is to help 12 families this year. And I was wondering, do you know anybody who's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in Massachusetts?
I do have a lot of friends. I grew up in Massachusetts. I do have a lot of friends. Nobody's popping to mind right now. But I can certainly put you in touch with those people.
That would be great. Tim, I appreciate you taking a moment to think about that. And what I'd love to do is maybe give you a call in a couple days to see if you've thought of anybody, because a lot of times once I say this, you're going to go to bed tonight and you're going to say, I know, Joe Smith wants to buy. So I'm going to give you a call back just to see if you think of anybody within a week. Is that okay?
Yeah, and break script real quick. Lorna makes a great point. This is why we should drill down into categories. Because when she said Massachusetts, I thought of the whole state. I don't know people in the whole state. I grew up in Chelmsford, right? I've got friends on the South Shore. So that's where she said, like, where did you grow up again? Chelmsford. Do you know that what a great market. Do you know anyone in the town of Chelmsford who's looking to list their home and capitalize on and net more? However you want to ask that question. When we start to categorize, I'll start to see faces and recall conversations. I think when we ask the question, do you know anyone on planet Earth who's looking to buy, sell, or invest? I go blank because I'm trying to picture 4 billion faces, right? And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I don't. But if she says, from book club, from golf league, from your son's
soccer
lacrosse
team,
anything like that, I start to see faces and recall conversations. It's wildly important to help them drill down rather than try to think of everybody on planet Earth. And then the follow-up, which Lorna is probably about to do, is do you mind if I circle the wagons with you next week to see if you thought of anyone?
Right. That's what I did. You guys are awesome. All right. So who has a phone? You all do. I know it. All right. Find that person who's on your list. We're going to mute. We're going to make one phone call. And if you make one and they don't pick up, you're going to make 2 phone calls. You're going to call until you talk to somebody. And after you do, then raise your hand or put in the chat that you talked to somebody. And we're all you have 5 minutes. Do not keep your faces on. I want to see you all making phone calls. I'm going to make a phone call. Tim's going to make a phone call. We're all making phone calls. See, Tim, I just put you on the hook to make a phone call. Isn't that nice of me? All right, everybody, let's mute yourself, make a phone call, talk to somebody, connect with somebody, and see if you can get a referral. Talk to you in 5 minutes at 11:51. Unmute. Bless you. You guys have one more minute. I love the Ford. How'd it go? Let's see, I see some people talking. Make sure you put it in the chat how it went. I want to hear from all of you. I probably shouldn't let Tim talk on the phone because now I'll never get him off. Voicemails. All right, that's okay. Amy, tell me what you said about voice. What did you say on your voicemail? Where's Amy?
Hold on, I'm coming. Okay. So mine were actually, I was still following up for some of the preferred, for some of the vendor list. I did a Facebook post and I got a ton of people to reach out to. So one of them I actually have a question about because the phone number was their office, but it was a voicemail. And then it said, it's an emergency, call the owner's cell phone. So I actually hung up and didn't do anything. So I'm going to call back, but I'd love to get some feedback on what to do in that situation.
So maybe just saying, I'm looking for Joe Smith, if he could give me a call back at blah, blah, blah.
Okay, just that simple, like not who I am, where I'm from.
Yeah, just say that, Lorna Helm's calling. He asked me to give him a call or what, it depends on, why you were calling, if you had already talked to him before and this was follow-up, or is this a first phone call?
First phone call.
All right, so yeah, just say this Lorna Helms from KW, just looking to reach out to Joe Smith if he has a chance to give me a call.
Okay.
Try that.
I'll call back.
There you go.
Thank you.
Awesome. How'd it go? Did you guys voicemails feel good? Start it? I love that I saw lots of people on the phone, I have to tell you. David, how'd it go?
Voicemails, but still, it's good to make contact even that way.
Right? You just start getting in the groove, right?
Yep.
Once you start picking up the phone. So we want to make sure every day we're making these calls. So this isn't the end of your journey today, right? We still need to make these calls and work on these referrals. But I would love to hear at the end of the day, what were your ahas overall for the day?
One thing that I liked that I took away from this today was about training your buyers and sellers the way that you want to be treated and not to feel like that you have to be at their beck and call and to control like when you're actually available. When I delved into this, like back in like 06 or whatever, just selling vacation property up north, that was how some of these buyers would treat me because it was their second home and they didn't, it was like, well, do you want to make money or do you want to go and do this with your family? And it's like, who do you think you are? So it's nice to have this control back again and to know that it's not considered rude or not the usual to take control of the situation and be the one who's leading the scheduling of appointments versus like, oh, what's good for you, and have them walk all over you.
Right. Yeah, no, I love that aha. And I think that's a great one to have feel that power and confidence to know that, we are professionals, right? And it really is, it sets us apart as a professional.
Lorna, when I was in production, depending on my relationship with the client, I'd let them know we're going to go peek at some stuff from 10 to 11 and from 11 to 1, I've got my son's lacrosse game, right? I would be that transparent with them just to let them know. And if that was ever going to be an issue, I probably don't want to be in business with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to be in business with you. And again, if it's in your lobby or it's not, it's God family business, whatever that first word is, charity, Oprah, L. Ron Hubbard, family business, right? So, your family comes before the business. I'm taking you out to go shopping and I'm concerned and I'm empowered to help you and your family. And it's Saturday and at 11, my son has a lacrosse game and my face isn't going to miss that. And I'm not standing in the parking lot picking a fight with them, but I would let them know, depending on how long I've been spending time with them, we're going to go from 10 to 11. And then I've got an appointment. I'm actually going to go check out my son's lacrosse game and we'll reconvene at 1. And if they had an issue with that, I probably don't. And I knew by then if I wanted to be in business with them anyway. But
We
yeah.
get to decide. I love that.
Yep.
Who else? I saw Vilma raise her hand, but then I think she put it down. So I'm not sure if I lost her.
No,
Yeah,
I did get in contact with someone that it was pretty special to me. I haven't talked to him in years, and it happened that I have called him before and he never answered, and this time he did. And in fact, he just texted me his information, and we started talking, and he says he's a all state insurance, and he has his own office and everything. And I says, why don't we scratch each other's back? You refer me and I refer you. And he agreed, and we agreed to stop and drink some coffee together or over the internet. And it was a very pleasant experience.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. That's awesome. So you have a new vendor partner and possibly a referral person. That's a great success story. I love it. And doesn't it make you want to make more phone calls?
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm not sure if I'm losing you or not, but
That's the referral coming in.
awesome. All right, Matt, you jumped in. You look like you were going to say something. So
Me?
yes.
Oh, I wasn't gonna say anything. I had to get off my dog was going crazy back here, so I had to get off the camera. But I made 2 phone calls. I have 1 voicemail into my electrician because I actually wanted him to look at something. And then I'm gonna do what you said before, is use that as part of my circle of influence, where I can package that into my brokerage. But I did my package that into being a full service brokerage, excuse me. But I did call my cousin, who I haven't talked to in years, and he's actually a real estate agent. And I just let him know I'm working down here. He's working up in the area I was looking at yesterday, and we should connect. And so we set up an appointment to connect.
Awesome. I'm so proud of all of you for making the calls. That's the first step. That's how you find buyers. And that's what we're here to talk about today. So I'm really impressed. Keep up the good work.
Lorna,
Yes,
can I share something from this morning about?
of course.
Before this session today, I called one of my members of my church just to check in. And in the course of that conversation, she brought up 2 people in her neighborhood that are going to be moving in the next 6 months to a year. And already, and just because I mentioned something, I've already got the first text message from one of those people coming into my phone.
That is awesome.
In other words, you never know from the conversations you have from the people who are in your world what's going to happen.
Thank you so much for sharing that, David. That's awesome. And good luck with that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we are coming upon the bewitching hour of 12, but I have two things to tell you, or 2. One is an ask and one is a tell. So the tell is, if you are excited about working with buyers and you want to dig deeper into this, we will be talking about it again in elementals. And I'm going to be teaching Win with Buyers on February 5th. And I will have that. I'll make sure I post it here at some point, the link for Eventbrite, if you want to take that class. Tim.
Awesome. Yeah. So Deb Hayes, productivity coach from the Merrimack Valley Market Center in Westford, Massachusetts, is teaching tomorrow's session. It's Find Seller Leads, which is wildly important. That gets us the inventory. Lorna and I are going to hang out for a little bit if anybody has any questions, because we want to create a space for people to get their questions answered before they head out the door. Other than that, we appreciate your time. Let's not forget that 10-4. Wildly important that you're having at least 10 opportunities to talk to people about growing your business every day. If you've decided that 5 calls is enough, I'll ask you to dig deeper on that one and see if 5 is actually enough, because we want to make sure that we're having enough conversations every day to find the person we're supposed to help. It's that great quote from that book from Michael Mayer. If you've not heard me talk about this, M-A-H-E-R, his name is Michael Mayer. It's called The 7 Levels of Communication. And the mantra in that book is, today, somewhere in this city, someone is looking for help, and it's my job to find them. Thank you, Victoria, for holding that up. There'll be a quiz later. It's a remarkable book, and we just got to get out of our own way. If you're not having enough conversations to find that person, and it doesn't mean you're booking the appointment with the buyer or the seller. You could be assisting them in getting the credit fixed. But you'll know when you find your person and you help them move the ball down the field. And that's really the goal of what we're doing, is making sure that we're nurturing people into relationship with us. So when they become transactional, we're the agent of choice, because they have a lot of choices, right? So we just want to make sure we're always having those conversations. So again, the 10-4, are you having 10 conversations? Are you adding those 10 people to your command? Are you writing 10 handwritten notes to thank them for the time on the phone and drop that business card that you may or may not have yet in there? And then previewing 10 properties a week. Are you becoming a student of the industry? Do you know the marketplace that you work in? So you can answer those questions. PF has the book too. Awesome. It's such a great book.
That's great.
Such a great
What's
book.
it called
So
again?
don't forget the 10-4. Make sure you're doing that every day. It's wildly important. If we're not on the phone, we're not making calls, and we're not setting appointments. If you want to call command that great sports car parked in the driveway, the fuel for that sports car is the humans, right? Remember the wood chipper scene from Fargo? You're shoving the bodies in the wood chipper. I need you to shove the bodies into the wood chipper. We need fuel for this thing called command. If we don't have appointments, we don't have a business.
Exactly.
So
Grow your business. Grow your business. You guys are awesome. My ask for today, if you all have a moment to go to kwueval.com, or in Kelly, type in evaluate. I am looking to grow my training, and I need a certain amount of evaluations to move to the next level. So I would love your help in that. If you go to KWU and when you get there, it will ask you if this is a market center training or a regional training. It would be regional, right, Tim?
yeah, sure. For sure it is. Yep. And if you enjoyed today, you tell them that it was Lorna Helms. If you didn't like it, you tell them it was Jennifer Bovey. Super simple. Yeah. Terrible class. Jennifer Bovey was awful. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Lorna Helms, rock
Lorna
star.
Helms. So they'll ask you for a name. You have to do the drop down menu. It says other, add Lorna Helms in, which my name is on the screen. It is Ignite Spark 7. And if you have a moment to give me an evaluation, I would really appreciate your help. And now we can stay on and answer any questions. Tim, should we be not live for that, or we stay live?
We can keep the questions here. Yep.
All right, so we have to
That's
go
fine.
off.
We can leave. We can leave it live if you want. Doesn't matter. Either way. If you're taking off, have a great day. If you've got questions for us, we'll stick around for a few minutes.
Tim, I have a question.
Yep.
Can you explain to me a little bit more about the Buyer's Commission? How is that going to work in the future?
It's not set in stone.